Okay, unmuted should be audible to the folks as long as once they catch up to us, of course, because of the magic of the delay of the internet.
Yeah, we get a 7-second delay, but the sports anymore doesn't get a second delay. Did you hear about that one? Probably not. It's hockey. Watch hockey. Apparently, a player's getting in trouble.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
Oh, and they apparently got caught on the national NBC broadcast.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah,
that's not good.
I'd say the slur is a lot worse to be saying than because there's been. I mean, there was the one Boston player that dropped a few F-bombs after the Boston bombing and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they can get away with that. I feel like when you get into the slur, that's where it's like,
Oh yeah, no, they're like,
you're going to be in a lot more hot water for that one.
yeah, the NHL is coming down hard, and they're trying to figure out who specifically said it. There's one player that's being pointed to, and he's like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, of course you did. You say that, you know?
Yeah. Indeed. So we are going to jump into this is Roundtable 69. So we're just about to hit another landmark show. And if you're immature, of course, if you're immature, of course, it's a big episode.
That's what I'm here for.
If you have the, like the 7th grade humor.
7th grade.
Oh man,
I've seen people older than us chuckle at 69 jokes.
Yeah, I'm I don't know. So let's go ahead and hit the intro real quick and we'll get started.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland, to the Dark Tower came.
We are quartet, one from many. The palaver begins.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's Magnum Opus, the Dark Tower series. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And we're here for Roundtable number 69. And so we're about to hit our 70th, and I still need to go through. What I want to do at some point is go back and delete like those like ones where I'm like, hey, we're going to do a live show. Like, just there was a few that we did like that.
Yeah.
I want to delete those out so that I actually have an accurate count of where our episodes are, because I wonder like when we're going to hit like the 100th episode or whatever. I mean, of course, that's going to be far sooner than when we hit like the 100th like Roundtable or whatever.
Well, I mean, it's already like we've hit 100 episodes.
Have we?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're in book club for Drawing of the Three. It's like what, like part like 14 or 15 now.
Okay, yeah.
On top of everything from book one, not to mention we have a couple of Unfound Door episodes. So I mean, honestly, I think we're past 100 episodes.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the old podcast app here, and we'll see what it says. 94 episodes.
Holy shit!
So,
we were close.
not yet to 100. And I want to say there's at least 3 I think that need to be deleted. Where it was just like, hey, we're doing our first live show, and I feel like I had a couple of those where I just did like a 1 or 2 minute thing to like
little announcements.
But like because I don't know. I think maybe it was even before we had social media fully set up. But we're getting close on the 100th full episode. But yeah, number 70 is upon us here for Roundtable. So
good Lord.
First of all, I want to warn you guys about spoilers. This is back to a Roundtable, and this feels weird because like I'm reading the series again. So like between that and the book club, like it feels like I've been like in book club mode because just the way it plays with my brain, feels like I've been doing a book club now for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, because there's not only like your read where you were talking about how you're before door 2, but also you're doing your door 2 read where you're doing your notes and everything like that for the book club. And now we're coming back and recording back-to-back weeks.
Last time we recorded a Roundtable while I was still reading Pet Sematary. So it's just like, it feels like I've just been like book clubbing it since the last episode. So it just feels like it's been a while since we did a Roundtable, but it hasn't. But with spoilers, We're going to talk about everything in the Dark Tower series, I guess, is simple to say. So if you haven't read the 7 primary books specifically, you may want to cry off. Other things, tangential things, comic books, side novels, connected things.
The wider King universe.
Yeah, wider King universe. Yeah, like we might have spoilers that might delve into all those. We try to keep it somewhat in bounds with the wider King universe, but there's going to be some stuff to talk about that might dabble in things. But
yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully, as King fans, you understand the journey is better than is more important than the ending. So,
right.
But we're going to try. We try not to go like blow by blow on like any extended King stuff unless it's an episode about that thing. Like even Pet Sematary, I don't think even when we've delved into like, the trailer came out and they've made a huge change for the movie. Like,
no, we didn't even go to like
we didn't go into
specifics.
depths of like the book of like how that might change things. We just talked about the change itself and what we thought about it and stuff. So we try to be mindful of all that kind of stuff. But with Dark Tower stuff,
yeah,
there is no holding.
Oh,
back.
no holds bar. Nope.
For next up, if you guys want to find the show, you can do that on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher or any podcast service. If you could be so kind as to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. I know there's been some people doing that, and we definitely appreciate that. And we are glad to have that because that always helps the show get exposure and be found by new listeners. As I still feel like there's a number of Dark Tower fans out there that probably don't know about. I mean, they may not even be into podcasting, but if they ever get into podcasting, we'd love to have the exposure where they could find us and be like, oh, cool, let's listen to the Dark Tower podcast. And then last up, if you want to find the show notes, you can find that at darktowerpalaver.com. For this episode, like the articles I read, any pictures I show, that'll all be on the show notes. So what Peter's seeing here in studio, you'll be able to see if you're listening with a standard podcast. Now, the alternate is if you're watching the old YouTube, you're seeing what Peter's seeing as well. And Peter was just signaling me that I hadn't changed the slide over to show that our show has actually started.
Shame.
I'm really bad at like that first slide change.
That first slide, you're always the worst at it. You're terrible. But as soon as you get that first one changed, then you're on point. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, indeed. But so if you want to see the show, you can do that also on YouTube, which Peter will talk about here in a second as he tells us the ways for you as the extended content to engage with us and our show.
Best way to reach us is darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. Email us. We take emails regarding anything in the wider King universe, especially about the Dark Tower. If you want to go in and email us also about book club episodes, we mentioned this a couple times over the last few episodes. We're going to keep bringing it up to make sure that people know. If there's a part of the books coming up, especially like we just finished Door 2 in Drawing of the Three. If there's anything you want to talk about that we have already covered or we're about to cover, send us an email, darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. Make sure to put in the subject line, though, that it is for the book club. So when Tad goes through and does his proofreadings first, it helps him know that. We're also on Facebook. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And the Twitter, it's @darktowerpod. That's @darktowerpod. And then, like Tad was saying, we're on YouTube for our live shows. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. We record all of our shows live on there. Book clubs do not stay up due to copyright issues with the sound clips, but all the roundtables do.
Yeah, indeed. So, that's kind of the basic ways to get in touch with us and to be part of the show. It's funny, as you mentioned that we just got done with Door 2, is where I'm at reading-wise?
Door 2?
Just reaching Door 2. Like, Eddie just snaked the gun out of Roland's holster, even though Roland knew full well he was going to do it. So I'm like literally like at the other end. When you said that, it like solidified my mind. I'm like, oh, look at that. Like right now, I mean, of course, here in the next like couple days as I like do some driving and stuff, I'll be getting past where we're at probably. But yeah, I've been kind of chugging right through it. Got through the first book pretty quick. Moving through the second book, I found myself getting caught up in it, even though this is stuff now that we've covered in book clubs fairly recently. But I still find myself, like, even after a drive, sitting in the car, listening
Letting
further,
a little bit go.
or even just like playing it on my phone as I'm sitting in my office or whatever. So it's been fun to read it a little bit less in depth, maybe, I guess. Like, I enjoy the in depth stuff, but it's also nice to just breeze through it. But it's been fun, so I can't wait to get into Door 2 and pass ourselves on our book club thing here. And as part of that, also, I guess I had I put the odds and ends slide up because I knew I was going to talk about this right off the bat because good update. Hat Watch.
Oh,
and I also created a slide.
Which one is more? Which one is more right? Without a hat or with a hat? For those of you not watching on YouTube and just listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
this has been a ongoing topic that we've talked about for the last. Oh, what has this been? A year or so now?
Maybe a year. It was right when you were about to start.
Last year.
You said like I'm going to make a point to like, find spots like when does it mention hat or no hat?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a hat to start the book, but King doesn't really keep it straight and just kind of it goes back and forth as the story needs. And that actually caused a lot of debate even around the film when it came out that people are bitching that there was no hat. And I was like, there's no hat in the book. I mean, kind of. But there,
that was really where it came up is because we heard that you reminded me. Yeah, people were criticizing, well, he's a cowboy with no hat. What is this? He always has a hat. And it's like, can you think of one time where they mentioned the hat in the book?
Yeah.
So we started talking about it, and like, when? The one that comes to my mind is book 3 when they're in the Cradle of Blood and they see the statue of Roland.
Yeah.
Wearing a hat.
Yeah.
So
So we found that, like, for instance, in the opening lines, in the first couple paragraphs, it says his hat was long lost or whatever, something like that. So from the early stages, he doesn't have it. But yeah, as we move on through it. So the two I have that I remember, because I didn't really have a chance to take notes, but I believe this is the only ones that jumped out at me.
Mm-hmm.
He picks up his hat off the wall and puts it on after one of the nights with Allie in Tull. So again, you're talking fairly close to when we hear that he doesn't have a hat.
Okay.
And then the other one recently was the Travois that Eddie builds for him in the Shuffle chapter. He does mention that he very geniusly pulls the loops out of the hat and uses that as part of the Travois. So you got two elements there where he has a hat. It's a little bit harder to disprove the points where it says he doesn't have a hat. I don't think King goes to that as much because usually if like that, like it's an action of like as he's talking to Allie, he's putting a hat on, or it's the utility of it as Eddie's taken. King's basically building a Travois with as much as Roland might have on him.
Right.
So then the hat's kind of a little bit more necessary. Whereas like not having a hat, like it maybe doesn't get mentioned as much, but I still think it's funny, and I'm gonna keep watching as I go through to find when he has a hat, and because we also know he has a hat like later on in like book 5, I believe.
Mark just brought that up in the chat that he got I always thought he picked one up in Caliber and Sturgis, and I think you're absolutely right, Mark. If I remember right, when they go to Tooks, I think they talk about buying him a new hat.
Okay. The other thing too is we discussed the mechanics of the door, and I don't even have this on my notes. I just remembered.
Yeah.
But I just hit the end of Eddie's door, and it does pretty much say that it pretty much loses life and goes down onto the beach. Like it's not super drawn out, but it's enough to where it's like it definitely doesn't fold in on itself like Odeta's does, or Susanna, we can say in this case now.
Oh yeah, I guess it was really, really hard not to say that during the last book club. I don't know what my problem was, but I seriously, if you go back and listen to it, there was like 3 times.
I did it at least 3 times.
Where I'm like,
where I had to like,
so Detta.
Yeah, indeed. But no, I just found that interesting, and I don't know, it might be something to talk about at some point. Is like to debate why the doors act differently, but that was just some odds and ends. So now we can get into some news, and as always, we'll go in order. This takes us back to March about 12th, which is a few days after our last roundtable. I think our last roundtable posted around the 5th or so, something like that.
Right.
So
we recorded last week, and then we would have recorded the weekend before, which was the 2nd. So the 5th.
The 5th is about when it got posted. So about back to the beginning of March. So we actually alluded to this on our last book club episode. Peter did as a tease, but I think only to the YouTube audience.
We only did it as a post to the YouTube guys,
which then people can't hear because YouTubes don't stay posted for book club. So, but either way, we did tease the people that were in the chat that there was some news, and we do indeed have an update on the Talisman. This was back on March 12th, which is a big deal because this has been in the works for a while. This is called Exclusive, Stephen King's The Talisman lands Handmaid's Tale director Mike Barker by Jeff Snyder at Collider on March 12th, 2019. And it says the Pet Cemetery set to close South by Southwest, which it actually did, by the way.
Yeah.
And the reviews coming out, I've seen really stellar. I've seen people say it's terrifying. I've also even seen people saying it's the best Stephen King adaptation. Which I'm like, not even just that, but you're talking about The Shining at that point. You're talking about The Shining. You're talking about Shawshank Redemption. Those like Shining's considered one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
Shawshank Redemption is
considered one of the greatest movies of all time. Like I don't know, like if that's just like going overboard a little bit, but like the fact to say, and I feel like you have to at least be able to like justify. I didn't read like the person's article because I don't want to get too deep. Like there's some of these people that do their articles and they spoil shit. But I'm just seeing kind of some of the headlines and like it's definitely feeling like not a lot of people are disappointed. So I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, we're gonna go see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This week is the Jordan Peele movie came out this week, and then I think
Us?
next weekend is Pet Sematary. No, weekend after is Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
So, and then it goes on here. It Chapter 2 and Dr. Sleep in post-production at Warner Brothers. The Outsider in production at HBO. It's clear that Hollywood is enamored, as ever, with the works of Stephen King. And now there's a movement on another noteworthy adaptation. Collider has exclusively learned that Mike Barker, who has directed numerous episodes of Hulu's Emmy-winning series A Handmaid's Tale, is set to direct the big screen adaptation of King's and Peter Straub's best-selling 1984 fantasy novel, The Talisman, for Stephen King's Amblin Partners, as well as the Kennedy/Marshall Company, which that's noteworthy because that's Kathleen Kennedy and her husband, Frank Marshall. Those are two powerhouse producers that are married. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
She's basically the one that was behind most of Spielberg's success. Her and her husband both. And she's now, of course, running Lucasfilm for Disney. So
that's awesome.
But hired by Lucas before the sale. So, yeah, their company is involved because... You know, like Marshall and Kennedy seem to go with Spielberg like peanut butter and jelly. So usually if he's there, one of them are there. And it goes on here, says Frank Marshall will produce on behalf of the Kennedy Marshall, while former Amblin CEO Michael Wright will serve as executive producer on The Talisman, which will be adapted by veteran genre scribe Chris Sparling. And Buried is one of his credits. I believe, is that the one that the whole thing was in a coffin and the guy was buried?
That's Ryan Reynolds was buried.
Okay, but that's what the one, right?
Yeah, he has like a cell phone and he's buried in a coffin.
Yeah. I never saw that, but I was always intrigued as hell by the premise. I need to watch it because
it's one of those ones that just got by me. Like,
yeah,
like there's movies like that.
I don't think it even
year.
hit theaters here that heavily, or it wasn't here that long. But
it's one of those things that happens every year where there's like one or two movies you're like, yeah, I really want to go see that, and then you're like, fuck, I missed it.
Yeah, I'll
tell you one from last year that happened. Me and you went and saw the first one. I totally missed Creed 2.
Oh, really?
Just totally missed it.
Yeah,
I have every desire to see that movie. Totally missed it.
Just missed it, yeah. Then it goes on here and says Barker is a veteran TV director whose credits include Fargo, Outlander, and Broadchurch, as well as TV movies. The TV movie Moby Dick, starring Ethan Hawke and William Hurt. On the feature side, he's also directed the 1999 indie Best Laid Plans, starring Reese Witherspoon and Josh Brolin. The 2004 drama A Good Woman, starring Helen Hunt and Scarlett Johansson. And 2007 kidnapping thriller Shattered, starring Pierce Brosnan and Gerard Butler. And then it basically does say that, despite all this is certainly going to be probably a huge step up in his career to be directing The Talisman. So,
sure.
Which is definitely true. And it said, and I also wanted to bring this up. I ended up looking into it because I alluded to it in one of our episodes.
Yeah.
I looked into it. So Spielberg bought the rights to this, The Talisman, in 1982, 2 full years before it was published.
Jeez.
So yeah, this is like one that's basically been quote unquote in developmental hell for what, 35, 36 something,
yeah,
a long
almost
time.
closer to 40 now.
Yeah, closer to 40 than to 30 years. Spielberg's not going to be directing, which is probably what they had planned back in 82, but obviously things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
You've read The Talisman, so what do you think overall?
It's fascinating. It's going to be awesome.
Like in terms of adaptation, are you super excited for?
Yeah, it's a really good story. It's going to be a really good adaptation. It's one of those ones it's like made almost like it's. I swear, there's some novels that are written that are just like made for adaptations.
Yeah,
like when you read it, you're like, yeah, this is going to be a good movie.
Yeah,
like it's just, it's an easy.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's going to be an easy transition to film. Basically, it's a boy on a mission to save his mom.
Which, instantly, a boy. Does he have a dad?
No.
So that's basically catered for Steven Spielberg.
Right.
How many of Steven Spielberg's movies, especially in that era, were kids that didn't have fathers because he didn't have his parents were divorced. So most of his movies tend to have like the kid with the single mom on some sort of venture. So like when like hearing things like that, it's like, that's pretty much Spielberg,
right?
Like, that's his style.
Yeah, it's a really good story. There's really engaging characters, really good villains, really good plot, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a little bit of everything in it. It's kind of King-ish.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's right next door to the Dark Tower.
Okay.
Like it's not directly related to the Dark Tower, like Insomnia. Insomnia is like they say in the
or
seventh book, where it's like. No, Insomnia.
Well, I guess Pet Sematary is not super directly connected either.
No, Insomnia. What I'm talking about is like in the 7th book where Moses Carver tells him this is the book that's most directly related to the Dark Tower. Like,
yeah.
Of all the King's works, this is it. But if I had to say which one is next door to the Dark Tower, it'd probably be the Talisman.
Okay.
Because he does go to a foreign land, and it really does seem like a level of the tower that Roland may or may not have visited.
Okay.
There's words, there's phrases,
Yeah.
there's way things work and everything like that. That's just like, oh my God, that reminds me of this part of Dark Tower, and that's from that part of Dark Tower, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
So it's not. There's really not anything pertaining to Eddie, Susanna, Jake, or Roland that's really brought up. I think the Light of Eld is mentioned once. I've only read it once.
Yeah.
I really should go back and read it again.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it's on. I don't know if I would say the fast track, but it's certainly now on a moving track for the first time in 30-something years.
Yeah.
That did something in there reminded me of something I tweeted too. I hit a moment in the book that was like I maybe would have added the odds and ends if I had remembered. But it's one of my favorite, probably like low key, not like it's going to be like ranking my top list of like Roland lines.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely like a low key like one that would probably be like. It's one of my favorites every time I hit it, is the Jack Andolini gun exploding, and he's like, bad luck for you, fellow.
Oh, God.
Like, because it's just so fucking brutal. And dark.
It is.
It's just like, and then also a few lines later, it's like, Eddie's like, shoot him, and he's all, too late. No. He's kidding him. I'm like, dude, fucking Roland's a savage motherfucker, dude. And I love it. It just gets me, because, like, especially the way that Frank Muller reads it, like, there's, like, almost a humor.
Oh, yeah.
A humorous undertone to it. It almost makes it darker. So
it does.
I will credit Frank. Maybe I love those so much because the way he performs them, but I do love them because they're just so like, oh, I don't know, Roland, you bastard. All right, so that's it for that one. So let's move on. We got one more chapter in a story I didn't actually know that would come back up, but it is. We got the Rest in Dane, Roland Deschain.
Oh, hell.
One more time. So Stephen King is wanting $1.1 million after beating the Dark Tower IP suit. And this is from the same website, Law 360, on March 19th. So about a week after that last article. And 19th, March 19th, 2019. That's a good one. This is a good one, though. I think this is kind of like the comeuppance a little bit. Stephen King asked a Florida federal court on Monday to award him $1.17 million that he incurred fending off claims that his work Dark Tower ripped off a comic series, saying such copyright litigation isn't a lottery and King shouldn't be treated as a punching bag.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm always with this kind of stuff in general because it happens a lot where like you get these lawsuits or whatever, and then like the judges like sometimes will be like, yeah, like you got to pay the lawsuits, the attorney fees of this company that you tried to sue because this is not like it was a groundless case or whatever. And I'm always happy when I hear that. This is obviously not to that point yet. This is just him asking let the estate and that kind of thing.
The big thing was that the lawsuit took years, right?
Yeah,
like it was something that
started
years.
It started with the movie,
right around
the first trailer.
When the trailer came out in 2017.
Yeah,
and then we get the resolution in 2019. So
couple
it makes
years.
sense that Stephen King's incurred some costs to defend his works.
I wonder to myself, like, especially when we talked about like the fact that one thing had covered that he had made $500 million off the Dark Tower series.
Yeah.
Not only is he paying lawyers, but like, does he get any accounting for the time that was wasted for depositions and court? Because like time for him is literally money.
Mm-hmm.
Like if his time is taken away, he's losing time writing, which means that he's slower to create. Which is the same as me and you missing 6 months worth of work. Yeah, exactly.
The company's not going to pay us while we're gone, dealing with legal issues. They may hold a position for us, but they're not going to pay us.
Yeah,
and that's what King is basically losing days worked.
Yeah, he's losing time, which is
well.
Money,
I wonder if he ever spent any time in dispositions or anything like that.
Yeah,
since it never got heard. I don't think.
No, he did, because I have a transcript of one of the depositions.
Oh, you do.
We're gonna go through it. And it's fairly lengthy, and I can imagine that between that and court appearances, that he hasn't been somewhat taken by his time.
Yeah.
Then it goes on here, says the best-selling author argued that the suit brought on by a nephew of the now-deceased comic writer William B. Dubé claimed that the Dark Tower rips off Dubé's The Rook was frivolous and was motivated by an irrational desire to perpetuate the memory of Dubé, or was a calculated cash grab. In light of King's win earlier this month, when U.S. District Judge Harvey Schlesinger granted him a summary judgment in the case, King said that the nephew, Benjamin Dubé, has continued to wield litigation as a threat. Costs and fees should be awarded to King to deter such behavior, the author said Monday. So it sounds like even after being slapped down, he's still threatening King with lawsuits. So, if nothing else, maybe this is a deterrent. And then they've got a quote here from Cy King, and he says, "A lawsuit is a mechanism to bring legal disputes to an end," King said Monday. "It's not supposed to be an inextinguishable geyser of new disputes to be prosecuted cynically in order to punish or to preserve the innocent participants in the last lawsuit." So yeah, it's basically the gist of it, and yeah, it's and then he goes on here, says on Monday, King pointed to the hearing last year when Dubé, questioned on his motives for the lawsuit, said that he wished to make sure that his uncle was remembered, which obviously you may want. That's maybe an altruistic thing, but that's not really a reason to sue someone.
No.
So, yeah, and then it goes on here, says this is a quote as well. Plaintiffs claimed motivation to use this lawsuit as a vehicle for perpetuating the memory of his uncle, if true, is irrational, King said. More likely the motivation is related to the damages claim in the plaintiff's pleadings of $500 million. So he's basically saying that, yeah, you know, you can say it's all about your uncle all you want, but there's a $500 million price tag that you throw on this. I think that's more of the reason you're doing this.
Jack brings up something interesting in the chat that I want you to address.
What's that?
He says that, I wonder if it has something to do with what you guys were saying about how you legally have to defend your IP. Yeah,
you do. Like if you don't, I've learned that almost in the last like 6 to 8 months, just, you know, different podcasts and stuff. If you have an intellectual property and people infringe upon it, and you don't, we brought it up with the whole. No, we didn't bring that up on the podcast necessarily.
I think we talked about it after.
Yeah, like The Departed, they were doing a whole thing where they were going to edit out a certain aspect.
Oh no,
of
we did bring that up.
The movie.
We talked about the company here in Utah that does it.
And Warner Brothers cut it off, obviously. And it's like one of those things, if you don't defend your IP, it could then be used against you in terms of, like, I've even heard some of this stuff when it comes to, like, the job I work, the day job I work, where it's like we're constantly having to keep an eye out to make sure people aren't infringing on our copyright stuff or our trademarks or whatever. And basically it could be used as a case against you if you're lackadaisical and you don't defend it. It could be used against you later when someone goes full bore against you. Yeah. They could use it as a thing to go, well, for 15 years you haven't defended this, so why are you defending it now? And that could actually cause you to no longer be able to defend it because you didn't defend it, basically. Yeah. So kind of a defend it or lose it almost type thing. So that's kind of interesting as well. Then tail end here. Either way, he said the motivation should be viewed in the light of the utter lack of merit in the debate contentions. Then a quote here, however sincere plaintiff's claims may be, it is evident that he has not objectively applied the core principles of copyright law to his claim, nor has he ever had the humility to interrogate his unshakable sense that he is always right, King said. Which, that's a brutal line.
Damn.
And then it says that Dubé's representation didn't respond for a comment request when they made it. So I feel like this is kind of, I mean, this obviously might now turn into a little bit more, but I feel like at least for us, we can close the chapter on it now because lawsuit was thrown out and now King's going after his damages on it.
Yeah.
And chances are, it may even settle out of court to where there's something, whatever. But yeah, if nothing else, it's the epilogue to the whole thing that we've been dealing with now for 2 years and we've talked about on the show. So
yeah.
That's fun. So now we got the next one is an interesting one. Castle Rock. Have you heard anything about it?
I know season 2's been ordered. I know that it's not going to be the same actors.
Yeah.
And the same story.
This one really threw me off. So Castle Rock season 2 sets Misery theme with Lizzie Kaplan, Tim Robbins, and Elsie Fisher.
Huh.
So, and this is by Nick Romano from EW on March 20th, 2019. So a day after that last article, as we're kind of slowly moving towards modern. Like, where are we at now? We're on the 22nd. Okay, so yeah, we're only a few days ago that this came out. This perplexed me. It said in Stephen King's cinematic universe of Hulu's Castle Rock anthology series, Misery is coming for season 2.
Interesting.
And yeah, Lizzie Kaplan will star in the next run of the episodes as Annie Wilkes, the psychotic nurse famously played by Kathy Bates in the 1990 film directed by Rob Reiner. Yeah. Now, we'll talk about this in just a second. Let me go. Well, actually, let's even stop now because this kind of gets a little bit more convoluted. First impressions. Because, like, to me, I would say Misery shouldn't be touched in some ways. Like, that's one of the most, like, I mean, if you can't remake The Shining, make it more true to the King books, like, is not it's only, like, less than 10 years later that you got the Rob Reiner adaptation. Would you not say that Misery is one of the best adaptations that King's done? And it's not in no way, like, heavily dated or anything. Like, It just seems weird to me to pick this of all things. 'Cause think of all the other things out there that are like when you find the shitty $5 movie at Walmart that's got 10 King movies in it, and most of them you've never heard of, and they're probably ones that rank 3% on IMDb. Like with all those out there, you're gonna go after Misery. That just seems a weird one to me. That's my reaction. I don't know what you think, but
I'm excited.
Yeah, okay.
I'm excited for it because Misery is a great story. It's a great
okay.
And I wonder if they're gonna put a Castle Rock spin on it.
Yeah,
where it's not just going to be a retelling of the book.
Yeah,
which I expect, and that makes me excited.
Okay, which I guess that's where we differ. Like I didn't get that. Now, as the article goes on, you'll be proven right here.
Oh, okay.
But my first thing is like, wait, you're really going to go fucking Misery? And it just seems so weird.
That's what I thought with Castle Rock when they finished season 1 and they said that they were ordering more seasons.
Yeah,
they said that they're going to dive more directly into Stephen King's universe, and so that's where for me it's like. They started off really good with an original story, an original, things that we recognize. I mean, obviously, Shawshank Redemption is mentioned very heavily
alluded to with references and stuff
in Castle Rock. Not just that the Shawshank prison exists, but the events of Shawshank Redemption occurred at that prison. It's the same universe, just years later, obviously.
Yeah,
and so for them to take a known King work. Is what I would expect is actually natural progression.
Okay,
is that if you're gonna start original and then incorporate King's works into this original world, don't bring something like Maximum Overdrive or what's the one with the killing like press or machine or whatever, or Hearts in Atlantis, something like that, or Apt Pupil that a lot of people are like, oh, that's Stephen King. No, bring something they know, and the big thing is also look at it obviously. A lot of stuff's already taken. It's gone.
Yeah,
Stan's gone.
That's true.
Firestarter's getting something. Talisman.
When it comes to TV, though, sometimes that means different contractual things, right?
True, but it's not TV. It's Hulu original.
Yeah, but I think it counts under TV. Generally speaking,
okay.
Like for instance, like why Gotham is under Fox, whereas obviously Batman movies are Warner Brothers properties, right? Like because Batman has a contractually separated TV rights first, and I think that's the case in a lot of places.
So hold on a sec. You just blew my mind. Fox owns Gotham.
Yes.
Fox was just bought by Disney.
So now Batman is...
now Batman is officially a part of the MCU? Hold the phone. No, I was kidding.
So now here's where it gets weird. So joining her will be Tim Robbins, speaking of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Returning to the King World years after his adaptation of the Shawshank Redemption. Eighth grade breakout Elsie Fisher, which I just referred you to watch that movie.
Yeah, I know
eighth
her.
Grade. She
that one. Okay.
She was in 8th grade. She was great. She's awesome. Garrett Hedlund from Triple Frontier. I'm not sure necessarily who that is. I didn't look him up because I didn't want to.
That's a Netflix original.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's been popping up. Me and my daughter have been doing some stuff on Netflix.
Okay.
And it keeps popping up with a trailer every time you load, where it has like the Netflix automatic trailers.
Yeah,
that's the first. It's the first thing that pops up.
Okay. Barkand Abdi from Captain Phillips. Yusara Warsama, Call the Midwife, and Matthew Allen, 13 Reasons Why. Robbins will play Reginald Pop Merrill, a character from King's novella The Sundogs from 1994 Past Midnight collection. In Castle Rock, Pop is reckoning with his crime family as he is dying from cancer. The family includes Headland as bully Johnny Ace Merrill, who will take over his Uncle Pop's business and threatening the peace of Jerusalem's lot.
Oh,
so that's interesting.
Salem's Lot.
And Allen, which is Matthew Allen, is Chris Merrill, Ace's brother, who's struggling to keep that peace. So Ace appeared in King's Needful Things novel in 1991 and was portrayed in Stand By Me by Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of connections. This is all connected. It's crazy. As season 2 focuses on the feud between two warring clans, Warsama will play Dr. Nadia Omar, a Harvard-trained Somali medical director in Jerusalem's lot, and Abdi will play Abdi Omar, Nadia's older brother, who takes charge in building a Somali community center in Maine. So you got some innocent things going on. I just wonder,
where's the misery?
Yeah, so Jerusalem's Lot is going to be involved, which is crazy. Then there's Annie, a nurse who's crazed super fan struggling to overcome her mental issues in Castle Rock, while she brings the misery, Fisher, which is Elsie Fisher from 8th grade, will bring the joy, as in as in the name of Annie's homeschooled teenage daughter who is beginning to question her mother's sanity.
Oh. Oh, damn. That's not what I expected, but
no,
okay.
Yeah, it completely changes a lot there.
Yeah.
So, I like that part intrigues the hell out of me, even more so than the rest of it, just because like the actor is great. Elsie Fisher is great. So to put her as a homeschooled, almost maybe Carrie-ish character under Annie Wilkes is a very intriguing possibility.
That's terrifying to think about Carrie being homeschooled.
Yeah.
Like, if she was under her mom's thumb the entire time.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know, man.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
No, that's seriously a really good thing. Is like, how do you take a horror film and up it a notch, make it about kids?
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're taking misery and you're taking the adult out of it and you're putting a girl, young girl in. You say she was the girl in 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
So teenage age.
Yeah.
Junior high school age.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be a fantastic story.
Yeah, I think.
That's good.
I think it'll be good. And it says his co-creator Sam Shaw told EW in season 1 wrap up, quote, "Part of what we always set out to do from the beginning was to tell a story each season, to see things that we haven't seen before from the point of view of characters we haven't met before in any season." Then it goes on with another quote here. So that said, he continued, "I think there's something really terrific with the way Steve," which the person here misspells Steve for Stephen King. Which I guess if you're gonna call him Steve, I guess you have to spell it the other way, right? So I guess if the guy's saying Steve instead of Steven.
Oh yeah, because Stephen King spells it with the PH.
Okay. Never mind. No mistake.
There is no Steve with the PH.
The way Steve, So the way Steve handles his anthology and his universe, you see Father Callahan at Salem's Lot, then you bump up against him in a huge way in the Dark Tower. The pleasure of finding your way back to the story, to stories or characters you've seen before in unexpected ways, is a huge, exciting advantage to this series. I think it's something that we can do. And allow it to be an anthology, but still embrace stories and characters that we love. It may not happen in a way that one might expect.
That's really cool. Mentioning the Dark Tower like that, because that's one of the great things about the Dark Tower is how it connects all of King's works, and the fact that they're basically doing that through Castle Rock.
Yeah,
beyond
like Easter eggs, right?
You gotta ask yourself, dude. At some point, is Hulu going to be able to do something related to the Dark Tower?
Yeah, I mean,
how easy would it be for them to do something about like insomnia?
Yeah,
where it's like the Crimson King trying to kill Patrick Danville.
Yeah,
how easy would it be for them to do something like that? Where it's for us Dark Tower fans, it's like, oh, it's directly related to Roland.
Travis says Tim Robbins is a national treasure. I think I would agree.
Yeah, for sure.
He's awesome.
For sure.
Indeed. So now Lizzie, the actor here playing Annie Wilkes. Is she familiar to you at all?
No.
She was to me, so I looked her up.
Okay.
She was in Cloverfield. I do believe she was bitten and then later explodes as a result of that bite. The one thing that stuck out in my mind, and I feel like she's the one that was like, the guy references something and he's like surprised that she knows, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you aware of Garfield?" Like she's like kind of like cynical, whatever, early on in the movie. But yeah, I believe she's the one that gets bit and kind of pops as it goes on. She also, and a few things here I listed just because it was on her IMDb and people might know it because some of these things are bigger.
Yeah.
She is Julie Clary in New Girls. She was Rebecca Ruxin in The League. So the Ruxin dude's sister.
Ruxin's sister?
Yeah, that was on there, and
Ruxin has a sister.
Yeah, apparently it's been a long
time since I watched The League.
And she's also Amy Burley in True Blood. So those are some of her big credits that seem to be a little bit bigger. But no, overall, it's interesting. Of course, my first impression is like Annie Wilkes will never be
anyone but Kathy Bates.
But what I will give them credit for is maybe give them hope that they can do like a Don Corleone, right? Like. It's obviously Marlon Brando, but De Niro obviously did a really good job in another movie. So maybe we can get something like that going. Now, Jack says, hide your sledgehammers. And then Mark says, sounds really good. Hope it's better than season 1. Now, Mark, you didn't like season 1? I actually liked season 1 quite a bit, personally.
Yeah.
But that's fun. And that should be, do you think that it'll actually go into misery? Do you think he'll go into Misery book stuff? Like, and how much would that change with a daughter in the house?
It'll be really interesting to see how they do that because, yeah, that's oof.
Kathy Bates is a national treasure. Travis, that's awesome.
Just make sure she doesn't ever get a hold of a sledgehammer again.
Yeah, indeed.
No, I don't know. Dude, I'm so intrigued how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna get someone in the middle of a street, not in a abandoned, a very remote part of Colorado,
Yeah.
with someone tied to a bed? You know, it's gonna change things a lot.
Yeah.
And then you add a third person to the house by adding the daughter, or is the daughter the one that's gonna be imprisoned?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
it's
there's questions, and that's one of the best things
And
when you go into a show like this is like, what's it going to be?
so. Would you assume with Jerusalem's Lot and everything else being involved here, that they're going to move her then to Maine, or do you think that she'll still be in Colorado? Because remember, we did have a character at the end of season 1 talk about going to Colorado
Oh yeah,
to visit the hotel.
That's true.
You know, the was she a niece of
Yeah.
Jack Torrance's?
Yeah.
And she changed her name.
Uncle Jack.
Yeah. So I don't know. It makes me wonder: are we still going to be dealing with Colorado as well as Maine?
We could.
We
could.
Yeah.
But if they say that if there's stuff going on with Jerusalem's Lot, I don't see how you're going to have half the show in Colorado, half the show in Maine, without having them directly related. So I think
Or cross streams at some point.
Maybe.
It could. Yeah. I mean,
maybe.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I'm intrigued. Like I don't know what to think, and I mean I obviously think I think it's going to be good, but I don't know like if someone's like, okay, how do you think it's going to play out, dude? I don't know. I got nothing right now.
Yeah.
So
Indeed. All right. So I do want to now come clean a little bit. You've been bamboozled.
I don't think I have been.
No?
No. There's something going on with the series, isn't
There is.
I fucking knew it. I goddamn text my wife right as I was getting ready to leave. I was like, I think Tad's having me come over early because there's like something going on with the show. And she's like, you think so? I was like, yeah. She's like, huh.
I was trying to find my text message because I felt really proud with the way that I crafted the thing. I wasn't really lying. I said, you busy? Let's see. I'm trying to see where it was. Oh yeah. You said you asked like why we had to move it. I said next weekend is looking kind of rough at the moment. And that's not really true.
You fucking liar.
That's not really not true. Because next weekend was looking really rough to hold off another week without talking about.
Oh,
some
shut
news.
the fuck up.
That was very well crafted. In my opinion, if I say so myself.
Go ahead, pat yourself on the back.
Travis says hashtag Ted is terrible.
No, he says hashtag Tad is terrific.
Oh, terrific. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm okay with the hashtag Tad is terrible.
Yeah, no, hey.
Lying to his best friend like that. You could have just said there was some news on the series. You didn't have to say anything else.
I found this funner.
You're a monster.
And I was like curious, like I was like kind of like watching Reddit to see like how much things might show or not. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And it really didn't. So I'm like, okay, there's a good chance that, you know, he won't have it revealed necessarily in terms of, like, he might have suspicions, but he won't necessarily have. But you wouldn't be like you would seen a headline and like
I did not know.
Yeah. So indeed we have some news here. Dark Tower pilot at Amazon has cast 2 characters.
Okay.
So I mean, if nothing else, I would like to say right at the top here that the hashtag show will give them some props that what they said, of course, was all rumor and somewhat whatever. They didn't have a lot of hard sources.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of proving, and like we said at the end of that episode, I said at the end of that episode, that if what they were saying is true, and you're talking like, what was it, mid-April?
Yeah.
They're going to start shooting, the castings are going to come fast and furious.
Yeah.
So this kind of follows along with that. So
And this comes from Variety.
This whole thing started with Variety, but everyone and their dogs has now reported on it. It's all over everywhere. So let's see. I'm gonna go through here. It says the pilot for the planned Dark Tower series adaptation is currently at the works at Amazon and has cast its 2 lead roles.
Lead roles.
The main thing I also point out here is just kind of like not hold the phone, but just to be aware, because I feel like this got lost. And even by myself, like yesterday, this broke yesterday afternoon, by the way, or yesterday here, our time was about 11:30. I think I saw it about 12ish. Like I saw about an hour or so later than it broke. And it pretty much been on social media going crazy with everyone and stuff on the Twitter and stuff like that. But the one thing I wanted to I guess as I was doing the show prep especially, is that all of this is for a pilot. So as TV generally works, a pilot is made, it's produced, paid for, which might actually explain maybe some of the short timelines that we were hearing.
If they're only going to do a pilot instead of a season.
Now, a pilot then would be looked at by the executives. Might even be aired on traditional television. Amazon might drop it on as a singular episode as a test balloon to see what kind of interest is involved here. I guess the only thing to say is that this doesn't necessarily say that we have a whole series. We do have a pilot. That's all we're seeing here. That's all that's referenced. I think, as a matter of fact, when I pulled one of these actors up and looked, and it said like starring in one episode, that's when it kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh shit! Like, go back and read the details here. This is a pilot, so let's just at least keep that in mind as we move forward here. So
okay.
Sources say that Jasper Pat Conan, so he's from, I think, Finland, and his name has some dots that I'm not used to having dots on letters. So I think it's Pat Conan, though. I think is how it's pronounced. And also, why can't we Dark Tower podcasters here just get some simple names? I mean, McConaughey took me a year and a half to learn how to spell that damn name.
Spell it, yeah.
Just spell it, yeah.
And then he also got Idris Elba.
That one's easy though.
No, not really.
Short, you know, like the letters go where they should. Like McConaughey, there's some extra letters there.
It's not Sam Strike, all right? Idris Elba's still not Sam Strike.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you can see on the screen there. Yeah. It's got some dots and stuff there.
Yeah.
But I think it's Pat Conan. Let's see, has been cast, which is based on the King book of the King book series of the same name. So let's, I guess I'll read kind of what we have here, and then what I have is
Cody puts how to say it in the chat.
Pakanen.
Pakanen.
Yeah,
Pakanen. Is that right, Cody? Pakanen.
Yeah, it's an interesting name for sure. And I looked up some things, and Pat Conan was one that was. So I found this thing that like showed like different countries, like how you pronounce it, different countries. They didn't have U.S., but I looked at Europe, UK English and Australian English, and both of them were like Pat Conan. Like
Cody says yes,
similar to that. Yeah, he was also in the Leatherface, which they've remade and remastered and rebooted that fucking series so many times I don't even know. But there was one called Leatherface, and he was in that. And we'll kind of go through. So what I'll do is go through the rest of this article that talks about him a little bit. Then we'll go into like picture. I have.
Okay, I was gonna say you got pictures. Right?
So I have, not only do I have pictures, but I have a scene from both actors that I'm going to show. Now that's going to be a new thing for us. It also means that this episode might get pulled.
Oh, we got like an
YouTube.
Actual episode, like a video clip.
I've got some video clips of them from some stuff just to kind of give us a taste of them. I believe I'll be able to get all those to work with the live stream, but it may end up getting it to where this episode gets pulled down long term. I don't know how it'll work, but we'll see. So it goes on here, and let's see. The source say, I already got that. Strike will play Roland Deschain, also known as the Gunslinger, while Pat Conan is believed to be playing the Man in Black, also known as Martin Broadcloak, and Randall Flagg. Obviously some different names there for the same man. The series is said to tell the story of Roland becoming a gunslinger and his first encounter with the villainous Man in Black. Strike is most...
I like that. Villainous Man in Black.
Yeah, of course you do. Strike most recently starred in the sci-fi series Night Flyers, based on George R.R. Martin's novella. His other recent credits include Mindhunter, Timeless...
Wait, what the fuck?
And or EastEnders, which I think is one of his earlier roles.
Who is he in Mindhunter?
We'll get to that.
God damn it, Tad!
He will also appear in HBO's upcoming miniseries Chernobyl. I did see if IMDb has got that right. He's in one episode, so I don't have high hopes for him in Chernobyl.
Oh, Mark just put something in the chat. I'm assuming, Mark, clarify for me. Which one are you talking about? You said he.
Oh, that's Strike.
Strike. Okay,
Strike.
He was in a popular English soap opera called EastEnders, been running for years.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones on my list here. And as I was like looking into things, finding news things for him, there's a lot of people that were basically like, "Oh my god, you know, this guy from EastEnders, look what he's ended up in Mindhunters." In terms of like, it's just one of those like, you know, kid that like, not kid, he was younger when he did that show.
Yeah,
but it's also just kind of maybe a more wholesome thing versus what he plays in Mindhunter, which we'll get to in a second.
God damn it, Tim.
Pat Conan recently starred in Spike Lee's Oscar-winning film Black Klansman, and will reunite with Lee in the film Five Bloods. He is also known for his role in the history series Vikings with Catherine Winnick, and Finnish films like Heart of a Lion, Frozen Land, and Bad Boys. That's a Finnish movie, not the
Not the Will Smith.
not the Will Smith nonsense. The project is produced by Media Rights Capital, MRC, which we're familiar with. Glenn Mazzara is attached as executive producer and showrunner. The series, which was originally intended to tie into the long gestating 2017 film that starred Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, but the plan now is for the series to be a more faithful adaptation to the book series. So that's
a good line for a lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people want something that's, well, even like just non-listeners. I mean, like, we both have kind of had our fill with the Dark Tower subreddit.
Yeah.
And everyone wants something closer to the books.
Yeah.
That's a great line to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. And I would hope that comes from creators of the show and not just the person guessing it from the article, the writer of the article here. But I don't know one way or the other because it's not really a quote. Then it finishes up here. The Dark Tower is one of several high-profile projects that Amazon has been working on as the streamers look for the Game of Thrones-esque content that it can sell internationally. Other major projects on Amazon development slate includes Lord of the Rings series, which has already received 2 seasons commitment. J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are attached to develop that series. Okay, so yeah, so we know that's it's all part of the larger goal here for Amazon. To go like to get bigger, I guess they want to compete with the HBOs and the Netflixes, and for a few shows that they've had, like Transparent, I think is the name of the show, Man in the High Castle, Jack Ryan, but I feel like that still feels like they're kind of like the AAA team. It still feels like they're not getting the same kind of hits as like Netflix and HBO, and they're not moving the needle as far.
Even Hulu now is starting to get into that realm of the originals.
And see, Hulu had an interesting tactic is because they started by getting big things like South Park and Seinfeld, big streaming services that'll bring people to go.
The service.
And then they started getting some original content. So it's interesting. But yeah, Amazon I feel like is definitely in this arms race, is probably the lowest, but it's certainly probably going to change as we move forward here. So
Jim from Rhode Island shows exactly what I was talking about. He says, "Thank God for a reboot and stay faithful to the books." That's exactly what we've been hearing since the film came out. Is more true to the books, and let's start over.
Yeah. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the actors here. We'll go at them one at a time and talk about it. As such, of course, I want to start with Jasper Paconin playing Flag, because star of the movie, right? Or the star of the show.
Shut the fuck up.
So here is a picture of him that's been widely used.
Damn.
This is from Vikings.
Obviously.
The desert obviously is at least a good thing to use in the context of what we're talking about, right? Because at some point, chances are we'll see him in a desert. So yeah, what do you think? First impressions, look wise.
He looks like a Viking.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm intrigued. I know nothing about this actor. I really can't say that I've never watched Vikings.
Okay.
So a fresh slate is basically he's an unknown for me.
Okay.
So
and there was one of the articles I read that said that basically, the 2 roles cast here are both fairly unknowns. Not that they're entirely unknown, but for a wider audience, most people don't know these.
They're not Matthew McConaughey
or Idris Elba. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm intrigued. I could definitely see how he could clean up. I love the little goatee that he's got.
Yeah.
I've always pictured Flag, what he would look like with like a little like thin goatee or something. Not even as thick as that one, but like a thinner one. Because it just screams like, the High Court of Gilead with the the bad guy facial hair.
Okay. So I watched Black Klansman not too long ago. It's a I'm going to say this as a preface. It's a movie full of reprehensible people. The whole basic premise of Black Klansman is it's a true story based on a black Colorado police officer that starts to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan, the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, doing it over the phone. There comes a point when then he's pretty much asked to come to like a meeting or something and see if he can join. So he gets another cop that's white and Jewish to go be the undercover version of the character he's been portraying on the phone, basically, right? Yeah. So it's all a true story. There's a lot of reprehensible people in this, but I will say that Mr. Paconin, my summary and belief, is probably the worst of them. I don't think there's a worse character in this movie. People can argue that. I mean, you got David Duke, you got some pretty nasty people involved in this. So there's a whole group of white supremacist KKK people, but I just feel like there's something about and all morning I've been like thinking about like a way to like an equivalent, like there's times that like, and I'm trying to even think like American History X is like, there was some pretty nasty people in that too, but it's like, was there one in that group that was like stood out? I don't even know if there was, but there, in my view, there was for him. Oh, and looks like Travis is saying there's a tweet from Sam. And I actually have not seen that. So, it may have been recent in terms of since then. So I just wanted to give some context there. But the clip I'm going to play is basically Jasper Pat Conan's character along with the undercover police officer, and he's kind of questioning him. Oh, so it's the opening line, is it? Yeah,
okay. That's what Sam tweeted. I just pulled it up. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed on a black screen.
Black with white text.
Yeah.
So basically, this is again undercover cop that's Jewish. That is basically infiltrating the KKK, and he's coming up against a pretty nasty character. I'm going to play a clip now for the people on YouTube. I believe this is going to work where you guys will actually see it, as well as actually I do need to change one thing plug-wise so that you can hear it, and we can hear it as well. But yeah, I think this is going to work for people on the podcast. You're probably just going to hear, obviously. But
show notes?
Yeah, in show notes, I'll have a link to this. We'll get a little bit more complex with the next one that we have to deal with, like in terms of playing a scene. But I do want to say that we are dealing here again with a cop undercover in the KKK, talking to a very militant KKK racist.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some things said in here that can be troubling to some people. I at least want to give that warning that this is maybe not an easy scene overall, but I think it gets to the core of like when I realized who he was and he was in this movie, I'm like, I want to find this scene and play it on this show. So let's go ahead and get to it real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Felix. Out of respect for this organization, I'll play along with your little get smart bullshit, but I'm no fucking Jew.
Sit down. Ask anybody. They'll say I'm a real friendly guy. Thing is, I'm only friendly to my friends. Not Jew. I'm sure not nigger friendly.
Me neither.
Know what I think?
You think? What do you think about?
This Holocaust stuff happened. That's the biggest Jewish conspiracy. 8 million Jews killed. Concentration camps never happened. What's the proof?
Are you high?
I drank.
Because I'd say the Holocaust is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It just makes sense to me. You have a whole race of leeches that you have to get rid of. So what do? You starve them, you burn them, you get rid of them. It's like weeding out roots for the better people. Haven't you seen the footage?
That's fake. Jews run Hollywood.
Fucking hell.
Let me see your...
You're gonna shoot me? Put that gun away.
I hear you. You're circumstanced.
Oh, is that what this is about? You're trying to see my big Jew dick, you fucking fat.
Calling a fucking Jew fan. Now put that fucking strap on your arm. Put it on your arm.
Okay.
Hold on. It's still going on the.
No,
that's right. We're
gonna catch
we're
it.
ahead.
Yeah. So, so that's the scene I have. Just a pretty intense scene. Overall, I would say.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't say up front there. The video off YouTube was edited for a few words there that dropped out, as you guys could have heard. As well as I didn't really say. Working across from Jasper Pat Conan as the undercover cop is Adam Driver, most famous probably for Kylo Ren in Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, pretty intense scene.
Damn.
Again, there's just like a weird like. Almost craziness to his character.
Yeah, for sure.
The rest of them, I mean, they're obviously racist, horrible people, but you at least like could see like they at least feel human still, even though they're horrible people.
Yeah.
Whereas like him, he just feels like
He's insane.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's weird. You get it in different movies. I've just had a hard time connecting with like different movies where it's like you have one person that's just like fucking on a different scale,
which is perfect for someone who's going to play Flag.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with the intensity and stuff that you see here. Plus, what do you think? Like now, when you're saying when we're talking about like look, for instance, like now you see him not in the Viking getup. You see him in motion. You see him his speech patterns. You see the intensity he can bring and stuff. What's your thoughts?
I definitely could see him definitely playing like a dark sorcerer bad guy. He can definitely pull. I think he can really pull that off really well.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to see him like in the getup with the cloak and everything and the hood and everything.
Yeah,
to see what he's gonna look like. Because dude, I gotta admit, dude's a little freaky, like scary almost. And you put him in that getup and everything like that. It's I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, indeed, and that's kind of what like when I first heard that he was in Black Klansman, dude. Instantly, I thought of this guy, and I'm like, I hope it's this. I hope it's this guy. I hope it's this guy is this actor, you know, because I'm like, okay, like I've seen Black Klansman, but like they gave the first name of the character, but I'm like, I didn't see it recently enough that I'm remembering everyone's name. I'm like, but I hope it's that fucking nut job, like, because that actor would be perfect for this, and of course, it turned out to be the case. So, so that's him. I think it's gonna work, man. I think he's great in terms of like what he's bringing here, his look and stuff. And like you said, we're obviously gonna see, and also consider like what we're gonna see, right? Like we're gonna be seeing the
scene in the apartment
room. Yeah, we're gonna see
the scene with Jonas, hopefully.
Yeah,
where he titters a lot. Like someone mentioned in the chat, I'm not gonna again look real fast and see that. Hopefully, he gets his titter down.
Yeah, Jack said that.
Yeah. Jack. I wholeheartedly agree. That's one thing that I would love to hear on film.
Yeah.
Is that even doing it gives me the creeps.
Yeah, and Travis says this is actually happening. So damn excited for the Dark Tower show. Indeed, I agree. He says his performance is terrifying. He's recently seen this movie as well. And then Jack says that looks like he could be really sinister. And yeah,
for sure.
I felt like not only sinister but also just intensity. I feel like even with this guy, like he's intense, but not in like a way where he's like a dude that's like screaming and running up the walls, right? There's an intensity to him almost in his mutedness.
Yeah.
And like that's what you need for Flag. Like you need a guy that's going to be able to like just give a glance and give people like
the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this guy
he gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, indeed. So
I mean, what kind of a sane person scratches their head with a gun? You know?
I mean, in movies all the time.
No, but it's like seriously, like no.
Yeah. It's an intense scene. I would recommend Black Klansman. I think it's a really good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And now, if you want to do some Dark Tower homework, I guess watch it for Jasper Paconen and see what he has to offer there. Vikings obviously is a bigger thing to commit to. But we now have two people from Vikings in Dark Tower series.
Hey.
In the first movie, we had Catherine Winnick. Now in the series here, we've got Jasper Pat Conan playing the Man in Black, which is going to be awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I can't wait. Okay, so next up is obviously going to be Sam Strike. I can't want to call him Stryker.
That's just your love of X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my X-Men thing. But every time, and also I have to say, that's a badass name for an actor.
Sam Strike.
Sam Strike. That just sounds like a cool name to have.
He fights crime by night. Sam Strike.
Yeah. Well, it's like the guy that plays Crossbones in the MCU. I'm forgetting. But because I always get the actor's name mixed up with the character's name because he has the most comic book name ever. The actor does. So there's been times I've even podcasted mentioned the actor's name, and I'm like, oh wait, I thought that was the character's name. So Sam Strike. We'll go ahead and pull him up now. So this is Sam.
Look at those eyes.
Yeah, definitely has some blue eyes here.
Bombadier's eyes. Yeah.
And of course, I mean the first thing off the top here is definitely he's white.
Yeah.
So you completely detach from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's first thought. What do you think overall?
I don't have a problem with them going either way. I didn't have a problem with Idris. He's a fantastic actor. I don't have a problem with Sam.
Yeah.
Obviously, them wanting to be a little bit more true to what fans want and fans and everything. I definitely understand this movie. it's not something that I would have been like, I have to have it this way. That's just not who I am. That's not what I need out of this show. But I understand that is a great picture to use, because I'll tell you right now, that's the one thing for Roland that's always described in the books that stands out to me, is those blue eyes. I have blue eyes. That's something that I've always been complimented on my entire life, and people have brought up, and it's something that his eyes throughout the series are mentioned. People have mentioned like his cold blue bombardier's eyes and everything like that. Yeah, that's a great picture to show that.
Yeah. And I'm excited for it overall. There is part of me that's like somewhat bummed that like that's completely closes the chapter, because like ultimately I feel like, and I've had a number of discussions over the last 24 hours on Twitter and stuff with different people, because I feel like the two strongest points of the film are Idris Elba playing Roland as number one, and I think Tom Taylor playing
for sure
Jake were the two absolute best elements of the movie.
Yeah.
And so I guess there's part of me that's at least sad that like that whole element is closed, because there was part of me that's like, what if this were successful in this, and it were to lead to like maybe a revitalization of the movie, under the understanding that like it's taken kind of like adapting to the series more, but you could still maybe rope in Idris if like they still stayed like in the realm of him being black. But I'm still excited. It's just like, it's not like the overriding thing, but it is definitely the part of the thought process is, it's somewhat of a bummer.
Sure.
But
no, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, the amount of negativity from the film, and we talked about this before.
Yeah,
is that the easiest and best thing that they could do so soon after the film? They're not waiting, the amount of time before a reboot. They're gonna do basically what they want to get it out there. Amazon's looking for that tentpole fantasy kind of action sci-fi, which Dark Tower we all know can be that.
Yeah.
And the easiest way for them to distance themselves from the film is to be different in the key points. This is obviously one of them.
Yeah, and that's what, like, my opinion, like, if you're coming down to like an element of like, why did they make this change? I don't believe fan reaction had anything to do with it, in my opinion. I don't know anything, but it's just one of those things. I just don't feel that generally things work that way, as much as fans might want to pretend that it does. I feel like, if nothing, it's just the singular fact of it being a distinction point of like, no, this isn't at all the movie, because like,
right,
because like it ultimately it wasn't well received and stuff, so like you want to make yourself distinct from it as much as you can, and that this is a way to do it. So not as much to like cater to fans as much as it is to show like, hey, this is this is the series.
Right.
We're completely different. This isn't tied in. We're doing our own thing, and I don't know. It gives some freedom for sure. And I wonder, like, long term, like, what are we dealing with in terms of like the horn, for instance? Like, is he going to have it at a certain point as this progresses, to kind of, again, the brilliance of what they did with the movie is that giving him the horn makes it a different cycle, which means that things can be different.
Right.
Are they going to do that? I mean, right now we know that we're going to be taking place in book 4, which means this is before the loop even starts. So there's going to be a lot they can do to define, I guess, where we are in the storytelling. Are we in the same that we read in the books? Is it going to end the same way, or are we going to have that drama of not quite knowing what's going to happen as we get toward the end?
Yeah, do we even get to an ending, a book ending?
Yeah.
With this series starting, halfway through where we started the series, are we even going to get that far? How far are they going to go? Are they going to go a different road than what we went in the books? Like you said, is it a different cycle? That aspect was explored in the movie. That's still open to them.
Yeah.
That's the glorious thing about Dark Tower, is that it could not necessarily be the book cycle when it gets transitioned over.
Yeah.
This could be cycle number 4. This could be cycle number 5 after the books.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So now the scene I wanted to play for Sam's strike here was from Mindhunter, because it is something I'm familiar with, and I know you're familiar with.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if Netflix is like just good at keeping shit off of YouTube, but there's nothing there. So literally what I'm going to do is, hopefully this all works, is I have Netflix pulled up.
Seriously?
And I kind of know like the spot, like how much of this I want to play, to kind of give everyone an idea of what we're dealing with actor-wise here. Now, the thing I will say is with Mindhunters, the show is about cops, the early stage of the FBI investigating and interviewing serial killers.
Starting psychological profiles.
Yeah, to try to help them catch like existing or serial killers that aren't caught, basically. So it's the early it doesn't seem like much now because it's just standard of what they do. But these are the guys that really started doing this, even though like everyone in the world was like, you're fucking insane for like thinking this is even worth doing. So it's a really interesting story. It's being done by David Fincher. Which is a brilliant filmmaker. To have him do
Fight Club,
to make him do a
right?
Social Network. He's done a number of things. To have him do a Netflix show, I think is like we're not worthy type thing. But I will say that what we're dealing with here is Roland is going to be played by a character that we will see here. It doesn't really match Roland, like the Pat Conan. That scene, like you could easily see like.
Sinister.
You could see Flag almost in that. Like if that were crossed over into Flag, like, you could very well
that could have been Flag from The Stand.
Yeah, easily. This is nowhere near that. So more what we're looking at is voice, cadence, tone, and acting ability for this guy. Versus like he hasn't done a Western that I could throw on and show you guys what he looks like as a cowboy or anything. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Hopefully, it works for everyone. So go ahead and mute us and jump on over to it, and let's take a look.
Virginia State Penitentiary, Monty Ralph Rissell.
Monty Rissell. Why don't you have a seat?
Monty?
Hey, you guys need me for any of this? No, thank you. We'd prefer to talk with you alone. Behave yourself, Rissell. My name's Bill Tench. My partner, Holt Ford. We're from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Science Unit.
Scientist?
We're from the Behavioral Science Unit. We're doing research, interviewing men like you.
Men like me?
Murderers with multiple victims. To better understand why you do what you do.
I'd like to know, too. You think this might help?
Help with what?
Find a cure.
No idea.
Think I could get some Big Red?
Red.
Pop. You know, like soda? To have it when I was a kid. Always loved Big Red.
We'll see what we can do.
That'll depend on the...
I can't get stuff like that in here.
What do you say we get down to brass tacks?
What do you want to know? Why I raped those girls in Florida?
Starters, how did you choose your victims?
Victims? That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
How many other men like me are you talking to? They all talk to you?
Early days.
You really think you can get me some Big Red?
Look at me, Monty. Let's stay on track.
You know what? I don't think I'm interested.
Fine. You want to diddle around? We'll walk out of here. We'll go have a nice, leisurely lunch, wherever the fuck we want, and then take the picturesque drive back to Quantico. What's the rest of your day look like?
All right, so that's what I got for that scene there. So what do you? I mean, again, it's not super Roland-y necessarily. I mean, I don't know. There's still an intensity that
he's
Roland
got a
needs,
dark.
right?
He's got, not a dark. He's got a deeper voice than I expected.
Yeah,
I forgot about who he was in Mindhunters.
Yeah,
I really thought you were gonna pull up Holden Fords, the interviewer, little not the big guy, but the smaller guy.
Yeah.
I really thought that's who you were going to pull up. I didn't remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, ugh. But this one, yeah, his voice is deeper and huskier. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of one of the things he did there. Again, he played on like a soap opera stuff. I don't have a whole lot for that. I haven't even watched it myself. I know that there was definitely an element of like I saw a number of things that were like, you know, how did they turn this guy? How did he do this to him in Mindhunter? You know, so yeah, that's if you guys want to watch the show, it's really good if you haven't seen it. That particular scene is one of the early portions of episode 4. If you want to jump, you're necessarily going to be able to see any kind of gravitas because. He's not playing a character that would have that necessarily.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And Roland's world, Restless to take a woman by force.
Yeah.
So, that just came to mind. But yeah, so that's his scene there. So that's kind of a taste, I guess, of both actors. So I guess now that you've seen him a little bit more, maybe even jogged your memory a little bit about him obviously playing a vastly different character. I mean, not vastly. I guess Killer and Roland can't be removed too far from each other. But it's certainly a different type of killer.
He's obviously going to be older than Roland is in the books.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider.
I believe the actor's around 23 to 25, somewhere in there.
So he's not. He could probably pull off late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do is late teens, most likely, is my guess. I'm looking at like the picture I have up of him here. I believe this is a current-ish picture, a little bit. Like there's some others I found where he obviously looks way younger, closer to like whatever. But like, yeah, that was something I wanted to bring up is like the age wise, because we are dealing with Blizzard and Glass.
Yeah,
so.
it does, change it from where I think they say it at one point in the book that he's 14.
Yeah,
when he goes through
and he was
his
2
trial
years
of
younger
manhood,
than his dad, which was the youngest.
16. Yeah,
it was the youngest at the record basically holder was his dad. So, and court tells him, you're going quicker than your dad and by 2 years at least. Like, and he, whatever. So, they're obviously going to change that, but we heard that in the hashtag show thing.
Sure.
They said that they were going to age them all up to 16 to 18 age range.
That makes me feel better about that. No, seeing this picture and everything with him.
Yeah.
Seeing that scene as well where he does have, and I've already brought it up, but I think that the biggest thing that I'm focusing on is his voice.
Yeah.
He does not have a high quavering voice like Jonas. He does have a deeper voice, which Roland has always been for me.
Yeah.
Is that
even when he's younger then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's always been slow. He's always been, calculating and everything like that with his voice and how he talks and everything like that. I think this guy's going to be able to pull that off very well. And then like that line there sticks with me for Roland. Victims. Oh,
that doesn't sound good.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Indeed. So I'm trying to think of what else here. So we got his age. We talked about the race. We talked about Idris. So what do you think with this actor moving forward in terms of like, if you get into season 2 and you now jump to the desert, would you want to see the same actor or would you want to see them recast the role?
It would be real easy to age him up, but probably I would want to see a recasting.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be a great, I got a feeling he's going to be a great young. I think it's going to be good. Unless we see season 2 not jump to the desert.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's absolutely true.
If we start seeing the fall of Gilead, the Battle of Jericho Hill, stuff we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Leading up to the desert, I think if we age with him through the show, that could be a very intriguing process. Kind of like the kids for Harry Potter. They started out as the exact right age for what they should be in the films.
Yeah.
And when they finished, they were in their 20s.
Yeah. By the end, they're shaving.
Yeah, they should have been 17. In the end, they were in their 20s.
Yeah.
Just the years in between the films and everything like that.
It takes 2 to 3 years to make.
But it was great. It was a great transition for fans to see those three, especially the 3 main characters, grow up into the roles, because it was kind of nice having the first few films where they were kids.
Yeah.
They were kids in kids shows.
Yeah.
And then, like I've told you before, because obviously Tad's never read or seen Harry Potter, even though he owns the 8 movies sitting up there on his shelf, he's never thrown one in.
Don't tell my niece.
The shows, the books obviously start with very lot smaller, very kid friendly, and then it takes a turn partway through the series and gets more adult. And it was really nice seeing the actors turn with that. Obviously, that's not going to be the same thing with Sam, but if we kind of, look at like the next level of that, where we see Sam start as young Roland and progress to being old Roland, that could very well be pulled off. I mean, if we're looking at something that's going to take a few years to make,
Yeah.
you know, it's Amazon. It's not, you know, season NBC, you know, television.
Is it though? I'm
and
trying
everything.
to remember. Was there gaps between like Man in the High Castle? Was it every year? Or was it like every other year?
It wasn't
or?
necessarily a gap, but there was time in between. So
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing is that especially with them doing a lot of other things at Amazon, it may not be one of those ones where it's like that, where Man in the High Castle was like their high card.
Yeah.
This may not feel that way for them unless, you know, obviously season 1 takes off. And the big thing is that if we do see him get aged and we see this series go on for 5, 6, 7 years, heaven forbid 10,
Yeah.
you know, you said 23?
I think he's 25 actually.
25?
Yeah.
Yeah, 25. So, I mean, if we go 4 seasons, we're looking at an almost 30-year-old
Yeah.
at that point. You can easily take someone that's 30 and make them look rough and haggard like
Yeah.
Roland should.
Yeah.
And so I'd honestly be okay either way, but if I had to put my...
If they asked you,
If I had
they
to
called you up
if
right
I
now
had
on
to
your
double
phone,
down,
and they just asked you, they said
it would depend
What would
on
you say?
It would depend on one question. Are you going to go from book 4 to book to the other books?
yeah.
If that's what you're going to do, then I want a recasting.
Okay.
I want someone older. I want someone that
And-
gives me the Idris, you know, older,
yeah.
more
And
experienced vibe.
I totally agree with you because like even as like dream castings happened in the past, so many of the ones that people kept going to, in my opinion, were way too young. I just hit the line about again somewhere between door 1 and 2, and it said the sunlight hit them and made them both look better. Roland looked 40 again. And it's
Exactly.
like, so Roland needs to, yeah, like, and that's like the thing is like, in my mind, Roland is, once I've like, especially maybe not the first time reading it, but as I reread it over time, it's like, this is an aged dude. This is a dude that's seen some miles. Like, and like even Idris, like, I would say he's about right, but if I had to put him towards one spectrum or the other, too old or too young, I even say he may be too young. Like Roland should have an age to him, in my opinion. Even though I know Clint Eastwood wasn't that old with the spaghetti westerns,
but he still looked it though.
Yeah,
that's
like,
the thing is, go back and look at the man with no name. Go back and look at that famous scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in the cemetery. He doesn't look 20.
Yeah,
he looks like he's he looks older.
I think the thing that throws us off is that now we as a civilization has seen Clint Eastwood get up now in like almost 90.
So like, oh, he's young.
So when you look at him there, it's like, oh my God, he looks 10, you know?
Yeah.
But that's mostly because we actually like could pull up an internet picture of Clint Eastwood at 90, you know?
Right.
And that, but if you take that out of it and just look at it in a vacuum, I think you're right. I think he looks older. But like over the years, I mean, like right after Lord of the Rings, people are talking like Viggo Mortensen. And at the time, I'm just like, no, I don't like him. He's too young. I mean, there was just some other ones that got thrown out there where I'm just like, Timothy Olyphant, like everyone brought him up, and I'm just like, he may not be too young, but he looks too young. He doesn't look old
Timothy
enough.
Olyphant does not look like an older dude. Travis, do you just want to watch the world burn? Is that why you said that?
Well, I'm not up to the checks. I stopped it at a point just to catch up. So Travis said Vikings Dark Tower crossover. Let's go.
Yeah, that was back when we were looking at Jasper. But no, here's the last two things that Travis said. He said three things. Harry Potter is a good ride. I've seen all the films, Ted. Just jump in. Then he says they should just recast and get Idris, deal with angry Dark Tower Reddit, and I mean recast for season 2, LOL. And then he says, and then he just said yes, he doesn't want to see the world burn. Man, Travis, you're like an agent of the Crimson King or something, man. Holy cow! Set that loose upon us. Oh, geez.
Oh man. And then a little bit further back here, Jack said, "Do you think that they'll do flash forwards or flashbacks?" I think that's a really good question. Do you think season 1? And okay, well, I'll make this a 2-part question. First, do you think? Second, what would you do? Because I feel like that's kind of the thing. So, what do you think that we're going to see anything past what we're seeing in this series for season 1? Call it.
I don't think so. I think they're going to put their faith in the actor. I think they're going to put it on Sam. Obviously, he's an actor that can perform. Look at the scene there, and if he's coming from I've never watched an English soap opera. But the way you've talked about him and the way that he's even been brought up in the chat is people know him.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's gonna be your tentpole show, if it's gonna be one of those shows that's gonna be comparable to Game of Thrones, I don't think they're gonna want to muddy the water early on.
Yeah.
Maybe a season 2, season 3 kind of thing, maybe. But early on, I think they're gonna let him. And I'm pointing at the screen here, guys. I think they're gonna let Sam carry it.
Yeah.
Him and Jasper. Obviously, we need to see some more castings. Who are we looking at for Cuthbert? Are we going to see Alan? Are we going to see Jamie DeCurry? Are any of these other guys going to be there as well?
Yeah. And again, the hashtag thing said, that plus Eileen, was it?
Yeah,
which is from the comic books.
The other comment, the other friend.
Which will get brought up in the chat here in just a second.
Yeah, obviously we have 3 in the books, and then we find out later that there was actually like 6 or 7 from this class that were all buddies.
Yeah.
Obviously we have like the 3 amigos, the 3 musketeers.
Yeah.
In Cuthbert, Alan, and Roland in Magus. But we may see an actual like group, which also does open the possibility of seeing not only one kind of like a Magnificent 7, kind of like give you like the different aspects of different people. Roland's a really good shooter. Alan has the slingshot. Cuthbert has, throwing knives. I don't know why, but dude, I've always loved that aspect of film and storytelling is where it's like, it's one of the reasons why I loved Ninja Turtles growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's got this weapon, one's got this, and they're
complement each other.
They complement each other, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
Different personalities, different weapons kind of tell that as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that for gunslingers. I'd love to see someone who's just simply just a sharpshooter, rifle only.
Yeah.
Like he uses like single shot bolt action rifle. That's it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Someone who uses like I think they say it in the book that Jamie DeCurry is favorable to the bow.
Yeah.
Not bow and arrow, but the bow, like in Wolves of the Kala.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that. I would love that. But for me, if it was me running the show, to answer the second part of your question, I definitely would not in season 1. I'd let Sam, like I said, carry the show.
Yeah.
I'd let him be Roland. And then what I would maybe do is in season 2, I would do a flash forward, maybe 1 or 2, but I would make it very easy to cast someone later on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw my stock in at that point.
The one question that would come up, because I'm mostly, like I said, I'm agreeing for the most part, because like I always picture Roland a little bit older. It'd be hard to see him within the next couple of years become the Roland of book 1 in my mind. But here's the big question though, is the reality of it. Now in terms of flash forwards, I guess I can answer that real quick before I finish this thought. Flash forwards, I'd probably would I do it? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably let it stand on its own.
Yeah.
And then allude later when you get to like telling the story. Allude that he's going to tell them that story. When it comes to changing, do you think that it's? I almost wonder, is it impossible to change once you cast him as your lead? What show changes its lead actor?
Oh.
I know the reasons as a Dark Tower fan why we are talking about doing it in the second season.
And
but you're really talking about like, he's unknown and he's a little bit of a younger actor, but like he is your lead. Like, will an audience abide by a change of your lead?
No, that's a fair point. But here's where obviously the other side of it is that if they want to stay true to the books,
which they don't have to. What if they make
obviously,
them younger?
obviously they don't have to. And this is the question that I'm going to throw out there, even for the people in the chat and on the podcast. Let us know about this. Would you have a problem if Roland was younger going forward with future seasons of this show? Instead of being that, oh, he looks younger, he looks 40. Oh, he looks younger, he looks 18.
Well, I don't think. I think they would age
no.
I
mean, in the book too, where the light hits them and they look younger.
So
he looks in his 30s, 40s. Normally.
Yeah.
So when he looks younger, he looks like he's, early 20s, maybe late teens.
Yeah.
So would there be a problem with Roland not being as old as he is in the books? That's where you get we're towing that line again.
Yeah,
where do you go from here to please everyone?
But see, that's the thing is I don't think you can please everyone. I feel like it just comes down to you've got to do your thing. You got to believe in what you're doing and just do it. In my opinion, and I'm still of the opinion, maybe that makes me unpopular with some people, but I'm of the opinion, do what you need to do to make the best fucking show you can. If that means throwing certain aspects of the book, as long as they're not fundamental, foundational things, like you don't throw out the fact that Eddie's a junkie, you don't throw out, like I don't know, I'm trying to think
the Roland and Jake relationship.
The father son that builds, like there's certain fundamental things, and I feel like there's also some touchstones that book fans would never abide losing, like Blaine. If you got to the point and Blaine didn't exist, or Blaine was just a fucking train that there was no sentience to, no, we wouldn't accept that. But is there going to be small changes that you can change? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Him not being 14.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm
in my
sorry.
opinion,
That's
you
where you
can.
have to get over those little things like that.
Yeah.
There's just not room for it to be a straight page to film adaptation. It's just unrealistic to expect them to pull something off like that.
Yeah.
So that's where for me, and that's why I was so forgiving when Dark Tower the movie came out so early on, when we heard about Idris and Matthew McConaughey, and even Tom Taylor was older than he was supposed to be. I mean, Tom Taylor. Right. Tom Taylor. Him and Tom Holland still to this day cross in my head.
Yeah.
But Tom Taylor was way older than Jake should have been in the that part of the story.
Yeah.
And so that's where, for me, it's like, that didn't bother me in the slightest. But I know there's people out there, the things like that, they're like, that's wrong. It drives me nuts that they got that wrong. And it's like, yes, I understand that. But at the same time, go find me a 10-year-old actor that can do what Tom did.
Yeah.
That scene in the bedroom. Go find me one that can do that,
Yeah.
And that's where...
And I think the only one that would have been even, like, close is Jacob Tremblay that did The Room.
Right.
And that kid, because that kid is brilliant. But I don't even know if we knew that. I mean, I can't remember when The Room came out, but, like, that's rare, though.
No, it is
super
rare. And that's where, for me, basically, that's where I give a little bit more leniency. There's always these hardcore fans that knock on these adaptations, but for me, it's the line that you told me is really what resonates with me. Even if the film's not that good, and even if the thing changes, I still have the books.
Yeah, the
I
books
can
are
go
still on the
back.
shelf.
They're still on the shelf. That's the line that you always say. The books are still on the shelf. I can always go back to them. It's the same thing with every form of media for that. For adaptations, I mean, for me, it's how much can I enjoy this without taking myself out of it by doing that comparison. Well, the book was better in this aspect.
Yeah.
Oh, the movie did this, and I didn't like that. I don't watch films that way. I don't watch shows that way.
I used to, but I don't.
I did too, and I remember doing it early on in Harry Potter when the movies were
and like
coming
Lord
out.
of the Rings. I mean,
Lord of the Rings was a huge one for us in high. Well, we were idiots in high school that were doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, these changes are not going to be something that you. I'm sorry, guys, you're not going to hear me be like the defender of the the Dark Tower subreddit that's up in arms because Roland's older than he should be. I'm not going to be that guy. I can't be that guy.
Yeah. And what I always say too is like, we got to remember these are different art forms. And I always, like a book, in my opinion, like if you want to equate it, a book is like a sculpture. Every aspect that's 3-dimensional, you can go around that freaking statue. You can look at every inch of it. You can, there's depth to it. There's way more you can get away with. Now take that exact same sculpture and somebody has to paint it. That's basically what happens when you put it into a movie.
Right.
You don't have internal monologues. You don't have 1,000 pages to let the whole thing flow out. You've got 2 hours, unless you got some kind of gravitas that allows you to go 2.5, or God forbid 3. You're not going to get more than about 2 hours on screen.
Right.
You can't show internal monologue unless you go with fucking like Goodfellas, like, having like the narrators, which usually gets ruined more than not. Not with Goodfellas, but with a lot of movies that try it. So it's just like, there's such different things. It's like, okay, you're painting a sculpture. Don't expect to be able to have every aspect of that sculpture portrayed in the painting.
And you can only paint it from one side. So there is going to be some, I mean, you can't, like you said, it can't be where you can walk around it. You can do multiple paintings.
Yeah.
Multiple films for a book kind of thing. I mean, we've seen that. Harry Potter has 8 films. There were 7 books. The Hunger Games had 4 films. There was 3 books.
Yeah.
We've seen that aspect of it with what you're talking about where they expanded out.
Yeah.
That's one of the things why we've talked about this before with our fans as well here on the show. Which do we prefer for Dark Tower? Movie, streaming service, TV? Which one for us? And everyone that I've talked to and everyone
TV is ideal.
Is TV,
Streaming,
HBO would be the best thing for the Dark Tower.
Because it's long form storytelling, not 2 hours. Now you've got 8 to 10 to 15 hours.
Right. And Netflix originals also started coming up when that's really started hitting big over the last couple of years. Hulu originals, now Amazon Prime is obviously the one that got it and is going forward with it. And I still think this is going to be the right format for this story.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're saying, instead of then having a sculpture being painted, all of a sudden I get multiple different photographs of it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but it's still not going to be that sculpture. It's not going to be where I can walk around it and take in every aspect of it like I do with the books.
Yeah.
And that's where, for me, I'm willing to take what I can get. And that's the kind of fan that I am.
Yeah.
So that's where my stance is on that, is like, what would I do? What would I want?
Yeah, definitely. Travis, a little bit further back, says, we'll know if Roland walks off with the horn. Yeah, assuming that we do see the fall of everything, right?
Yeah,
If we
that would
see
be Jericho Hill
and stuff. So it's a
Yeah.
matter of if we see that. Now, I think Travis, you're assuming that we will, and I would love to join you in that assumption because I would love nothing more than to see that. I've already said I would love to see book 4 expanded. I know comic books ended up showing a little bit more than novels did. I'd love to see this go even further and show more than the comic books did. I would love us to see the fall of Gilead. I'd love us to see the death of Roland's father. I'd love to see, let's see the entire crumbling of it all. You know, the stuff that's been alluded to us, especially book fans.
What Roland went through to get to the desert.
Cover that for 2 seasons, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, then again, you give that the time for this actor to like whatever. And also by that point, if you're so invested and we're like into it and he's fucking killing it in this role, do you think any of us in season 3, when it starts up, we're going to sit there and go, oh, well, Sam still looks too young to be playing Roland to this age? Or are we going to be like, fucking A, Sam's been fucking killing it for 2 seasons in Roland.
Let's
like,
roll.
Yeah. Like we're not going to care at that. So that's kind of but I'm with you, Travis. I would love to see Jericho Hill. And you're right. At that point, that might be the point for them to be like, hey, yeah, this is a different story. He's picking up the horn.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And chat, obviously, if fans, let us know what you think about this. I just had a thought that this show should end with the desert. That's where it should stop.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
Oh, dude, how bad would that be?
You can't do that.
No?
No, dude.
No?
Because that means...
Give me 4 seasons. Magus, the Fall of Gilead, Jericho Hill. Invent some stuff in between Jericho Hill and the desert. You got 4 seasons there that you can do. Easily.
I think it's 3 seasons.
Easily. No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like Magus, Fall of Gilead, leading up to Jericho Hill, the war itself. Jericho Hill being in the finale of like season 3. And then you get Roland leading up to starting the cycle and the desert. And the Men in Black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger
I don't think you can
is the end.
No way, dude.
Dude, why?
No, because you'd be losing every other aspect of the series. I mean, I'm a book 4 fan, so I'm not like I wouldn't like poo having the like 3 or 4 seasons of this backstory stuff. But there's no way that you of all people, dude, you're saying no Eddie, you're saying no Oi, you're saying no more Jake.
Sure.
Like they can't do that. That would be that would be worse than pretty much anything you could do almost. I mean, I don't know.
I like what Travis said to me.
Yeah, I'm going just down the chat because I just didn't want to miss anything. Travis said, I have faith in Jasper, but Sam will have to prove himself to me. And then Cody says, I'm anxious to see Eileen. Isn't she Court's niece? We haven't read the comics enough to know that far. We are going to be doing that this year to get more into comics.
Sure.
But that is an interesting thing if she was Court's niece. I love Court, by the way.
I know you do. He's one of your favorites.
And then Jack says, based on the age, if the TV show goes well, it could run all the way to the Fall of Gilead, which, yeah, I think that'd be awesome. And then Jim says, if that goes well, why stop there? Then we get into like the Harry Potter comments. Okay, I think I don't know if there's anything else. You were kind of watching at that point. So what were you saying then?
Yeah, Travis says, nope, Peter. When I asked my question, he says, why would you want to stop the gravy train? I want it all. Jim from Rhode Island says, if it's great, keep it going. And then Travis says again, we need Aaron Paul, man. And don't get me wrong, I don't want Aaron Paul as Eddie more than anything.
No,
but
that's where you'd lose it, though.
I know. But here's the big thing, is that, we've already seen one adaptation fail because people didn't like where they went with it. And that's the that's the big thing, is that if you want low risk, high reward, you avoid that stuff, which is probably one of the reasons why they're choosing book 4. We've said it for years. Book 4 is easily the most adaptable to film.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could take book 4 and make 2 really good movies.
Yeah.
Easily.
The rest of it gets a little bit more tricky.
Yeah. The rest of the series is where you start playing with fire. To put it bluntly. I mean,
yeah.
You're in a riddle contest with Blaine at that point without Eddie's smart wit. So, for me, I would hate to see the series. My worst thing would be, okay, give me 2 seasons, Magus, Fall of Gilead, ending with Jericho Hill, leading up to the desert. And then we get 1 or maybe 2 seasons, and then it gets canceled because the fans throw a bitch fit because it's not close enough to the adaptation, and they stop watching it.
The ultimate hope here, it's the same thing we talked about in the movie, though, is you need to catch a wider audience. Amazon's looking for Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones isn't what it is today because fans that bought those books 20 years ago and read them are watching the show. It's because everyone and their dog is watching that show. So I feel like it's got to grow past that. The only way that Amazon's going to cut the cord and kill the show is because people aren't watching ultimately. So I think if you're telling good stories,
that's where the problem lies, is what I'm saying. Is that
oh, it's true.
I think that the community itself for Dark Tower can be a detriment to that because they've been burned before. They feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's how they felt about the movie. They felt that way about the movie before we even had a trailer coming out. A lot of them. I'm not saying everyone here, obviously. I'm saying there was a big group.
There was a loud voice.
There was a loud voice that was saying this is going to be garbage and we're not going to stand by it. And there was people that never even saw the film.
Yeah.
And that's where I worry is that we're going to get to the doors. We're going to get a cliffhanger. And we're going to be one of those shows that gets...
And it definitely happens.
Like, to me, that would be worse than if they didn't go at all.
Oh,
I would,
because at least we would have what we have, right? It's the same with the movie. The movie, if this didn't happen, the movie at least exists. Like we still at least have that, and we can go back and explore. Like on Twitter, I got into a pretty good conversation with people going in depth on like, Jake and the role of Jake in the movie and stuff, and the performance of Tom Taylor, especially in the scene with the dead mom.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's gold in that movie. There's gold nuggets for us book fans.
The gunslinger credo. That was an amazing scene.
Yeah, so I think like I don't know. Yeah, you can't I don't know, like reject the whole thing because you might lose it at some point. Like okay, it may not get all the way to the tower itself. But I would rather go down that journey like Eddie would in the attempts that it might get that far.
I see your point. I do. I really do. It's just for me.
It'd be heartbreaking.
I'm such a pessimist that dude. I mean, come on. You saw me a couple of roundtables ago when the news was breaking about this, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see this.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the way that the movie went down and everything just makes me think that there's not going to be a loud enough voice saying, yes, this is awesome.
And I don't think it doesn't have to be a voice saying it's awesome. It just has to be people watching it, right? Like
that's what but that's the thing though, is that if people are bad mouthing it before it even comes out. I mean, I had this conversation with people. My wife was one of them. She heard from different things, different sources of media that people were saying this movie is going to be bad, and she went in thinking it was going to be bad. She came out loving the movie. My wife loved the Dark Tower movie. She's never read the book. She thought it was a great story. She's like, are they going to make more? She's like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that we did talk about later on when we kind of pulled back a little bit. That, yeah, we wish there would have been a little bit more world building. There would have been more for outside fans like that to cling on to.
Yeah.
Which was obviously missing.
Yeah.
So that's where...
Which this certainly won't be.
No, this won't be, and that's I'm hopeful.
Especially because it's covering book 4. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like just book 4 in and of its own nature does more world building than the first 3 books combined, in my opinion. Now that might be one that you could argue, but I feel like it probably does. But yeah, I would rather them just roll with it and just see where we end up, I guess. So let's talk about the fact that I mentioned earlier. This is just a pilot.
Yeah.
So if it's you, what would that pilot include? You've got 50
trial.
You call it 55 minutes. You've got
his trial for manhood.
Okay.
Ending with Stephen Deshane. The end line for the episode would be, "I've known for 2 years." That's where, from basically finding out about his mom, maybe hacks the cook, maybe some younger stuff, all that stuff, all the flashbacks, training stuff. Leading up to the mid episode kind of little, not cliffhanger, but turning point where he finds out, goes through his preparations with David. You see the hawk hunting earlier on. You flash forward a couple years to where he's older.
Yeah.
Then you have the battle with Court, taking the woman in Lowtown, and Steven's reaction to Roland. And then maybe not ending with, I've known for 2 years, but we have got to do something. You're in grave danger. We got to get you out of here. Something like that. I'll tell you right now, that could be one of the greatest episodes of TV I've ever seen. You put it that right there. Give me that.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
I think for me, in terms of, I think I would agree with most of that. The only thing I'd say is let's add in some like of the Gilead court. Like, let's see some of, I mean, you get like the story about the dance, right? Let's even see that. I want to see guns. I want to see a lot of gunslingers. I want to see, how does Steven and Cuthbert's dad interact? Like, what does this all look like? I'm that kind of nerd. I want to like kind of like why was Game of Thrones so good, especially in those first few years? Because you were literally just exploring this world.
Yeah,
I want that. I want to see. Even in that first episode, it doesn't have to be more than 5-10 minutes added in to the whole 55-minute plot. Show me.
Well, Hacks the Cook is a great aspect of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
the justice system. How does the justice system work in
and
this
show
world?
Stephen and Cuthbert's dad even just talking about the good man, right?
Yeah,
it's like what's going on. Like this is fucking close.
Well,
this got close to home.
Why make it Stephen and Cuthbert's dad? Make it freaking Roland with Van A. In class and talking about the good man and what's going on out west and everything like that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
bring up that stuff. That's that's absolutely should be part of the episode. You're 100% right.
Here you go. What about Van A teaching them? But maybe it's a little bit sugar coated, and it sounds like it's just this triumphant thing.
Yeah,
and then juxtapose that to a scene later when Steven's talking to Cuthbert's dad. I'm blanking on his name, and then you kind of you see the reality of it, where it's like,
all right, someone in the chat. Let's see who's got their Dark Tower knowledge on. What's Cuthbert's dad's name?
But see them talking and have them show that like they're lying to the children, they're lying to the people. Like
it's not going well.
We're losing this. Like this is Hacks just happened. This is fucking close. Like this could have killed an entire town. Like what is going on? We're losing here. Like, but so then you kind of show this disconnect because if you have a falling kingdom, would it not be like just symptomatic of that kingdom that you're basically lying to people? That you're just kind of, like whatever. I feel like that'd be brilliant to do.
Sure. No, I think that's a great aspect to put in there because it adds more drama to the show already.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing to do to build that world up like you're talking about as well. That's what a lot of people want when they come into series like this. They want to build that world. I'll tell you right now, that's what enthralled me about Men in the High Castle. Being such a history buff is that it seriously was like, how great is it that this is like an alternate history? Give me more. What are the details and everything like that?
Yeah.
Why are you throwing your hands up? What?
So I typed in CUTH, the first populated thing here on Google. Cuthbert Allgood's father.
No way. Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Fucking Google evil motherfuckers trying to freaking. Oh man.
Bob. Travis says it's Bob in the chat.
Oh man, stupid Google.
I thought I was saying something and someone said it in the chat.
No, not at all. Yeah, Robert.
Robert.
Good.
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah. So, so Bob. Yeah, that's definitely right, Travis. But yeah, I think that like something like that. Now here's another thing. I guess like it's gonna be tough for things like Susan, whatever. But like let's just say, with what we have, is there anyone that comes to mind for castings for this first episode?
I still think what someone said in the chat, I got to give someone props for this. This is not my idea. Kathy Bates is Rhea of the Coos.
Did somebody say?
Someone really said that in the chat. I need to go back. I'm going to go back and find who it was. But what about you?
I missed that. Rhea, I don't know.
Jim from Rhode Island, my man.
Okay.
Kathy Bates for Rhea of the Coos. Yeah.
I don't know about Rhea. The one that instantly jumps to mind is Court. Okay, so who have I always said?
Mr. French. What's his name?
Ray Winston.
Thank you.
So somebody on Twitter threw one out, and it blew my mind.
Uh-oh.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Court.
No fucking way.
Can you imagine, dude?
Oh, Kingpin is Court?
Can you imagine? Dude, that would be... He's one of the best actors, dude. Like, he's, like, so underrated. I don't think people ever realize, like, how great he is. And, dude, imagine him as Court, dude.
Damn.
That would be so freaking good, man.
Oh, damn.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, that... Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about Stephen Deshane, for instance? Especially now looking at, who we got here, right? Depending on how long they're in the show, you might even be able to get away with someone that's maybe a little bit more, I don't know, maybe bigger, I guess. But even look at TV people, right? Like who's in Game of Thrones? Who's in TV shows that you watch that, might fit the role a little bit.
I mean, dude, I don't know. I'm just excited. Like, I haven't done any Dreamcast.
Yeah, obviously.
Like
I'm just saying, like, is there anything that comes to mind? Like, because, like, I at least want to bring up Vincent D'Onofrio. I think that's pretty brilliant.
That's a really good one. It really is a good one. Like,
yeah.
I
now, here's one for you. Van A should be Alden Gillian, which is Littlefinger.
Oh shit.
That should be Van A.
Oh shit. Okay. I'd be okay with that.
Because see, I don't know enough young actors. We started a little bit of a dream casting for this.
Yeah.
We haven't dove into it on the episode yet. We will do that. But even in doing investigating there, it's just like, man, I don't know a lot of young actors. All the young actors that I knew at one point are all out now, like 18 to 21.
They're not the right age.
They've all grown up now. I mean, I guess technically a little bit now that they are actually officially aging them up. So I don't know about like Cuthbert. I think that's going to be a great fucking role though. Whatever actor gets that is going to be, that's going to be like, that's going to be like the Doc Holliday role in Tombstone.
Yeah.
It's not the lead, but it could very well be one that steals the show.
Dude, how would you feel about Jeff Bridges
as
Jonas?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like of course that's like getting in the realm of, like Dreamcasting, where it's like, who cares that it's a show and they may not be able to afford it. But yeah, I could see that. I mean, he doesn't seem as like thin and wiry as Jonas would be.
Yeah,
but I would love. I mean, Jeff Bridges is great.
The dude abides.
Yeah,
so.
you can't go wrong with.
No,
him.
I thought about True Grit. We talked about True Grit recently. And
Yeah,
I haven't watched it for years, and that came to my mind, and someone was talking about Big Lebowski at work the other day.
Great movie.
And someone had never seen it.
How many episodes do you think we've actually done that I haven't referenced it at least one in one way or another, even if it's minute?
Not many. Not many.
Not many.
Not many.
Exactly.
Not many
It's just
at all.
like your opinion, man. Like,
Yeah,
like,
that
I say
stuff.
that one all the time.
The dude abides.
Travis says Brendan Gleeson is Court. Stephen Shane could be Kurt Russell. I think Kurt Russell is a strong one.
I honestly thought about Kurt Russell.
And that's one I always used to think of when we were dream casting. Because like the first thought would be like, if you were filming this 25 years ago, you'd say go with Clint Eastwood as Stephen Deshane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kurt Russell, just having the Idris thing in my head for so long now, that has completely like been lost. But you're right. That's what I used to call all the time is Kurt Russell. I think that'd be a good one.
Because also it's not one where he has to be in it for 9 or 10 episodes out of
not
the
at all.
15. He's in it for 1, 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
One at the beginning, the start of 2 when Roland and his party leave, and then when he comes home. That kind of thing is basically what you'd be looking at for Kurt Russell. And that would be really good. What about Roland's mom? You ever thought about that one?
God, I have a look for her in my mind, but I don't know. I don't know. That'd be one I had to think about. Instantly off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I feel like I've got something in my head. It's just a matter of like finding an actor that like is close to that, or maybe it is an actor that I have in my mind and I just have to like make the connection. But
gotcha.
I'm not sure. Let's see in the chat here. I can't remember his name, but the guy who played the Train Man in Matrix Revolution as Jonas. Yeah, I think that I couldn't remember because it's been so long since I watched those. Yeah, you can look at this the old screen here. I don't have it on like the screen that he normally sees it on, but yeah, I could see him playing.
What does he look like now is the big question.
Oh yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
That was like what 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I mean, the Matrix was the early 2000s, so let's
yeah, who knows?
That's a big one.
But no, that's definitely good. I think also when it comes to, if we're talking just full on dream casting, even if it's not realistic, Wolverine playing his dad because
Hugh Jackman?
he looks just like Clint Eastwood. Age him up and
Hugh Jackman?
Oh yeah. Remember when we used to look at like before we got Scott Eastwood? Dude, he looks just like Clint Eastwood.
Really?
Oh yeah. Before that Scott Eastwood picture with him,
I don't
like,
remember
with the stogie in his mouth. Before that,
oh yeah,
Hugh
with
Jackman,
like the rough
Hugh Jackman has always
yeah.
been. He looks so much like Clint Eastwood, it's uncanny.
Okay.
So if you're going just crazy, throw stuff at the wall and go, who cares? Because then you're
what
at least
about
playing.
What about Timothy Olyphant as Steven?
I feel like he always just seems weaselly to me.
Weaselly.
I don't like.
What about
him
as Aaron DePape or one of the other coffin hunters? Then
one of the Roy.
Yeah, Roy DePape.
Yeah, I could see something like that. I could see him fitting into one of those for sure. I think both the ones are. I think he's a little bit older than they would be, but you could do it.
Let's take your Ray Winston one and twist it. Make him the sheriff of Hanbury.
Yeah.
He'd be a good little arrogant sheriff, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I think he would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just so much. We're gonna do a Dreamcast game, so I just wanted to get some thoughts as we're like here fresh on it. You know,
Yeah.
So
just throw the first thing in your head that comes
yeah,
out.
but like the Vincent D'Onofrio one for sure is probably the winner, even though that came from
For
Twitter.
sure. For
like,
sure.
that would be
That or Kathy Bates' Ray of the Coos, because that would just be fucking terrible for me.
yeah.
God, that woman terrifies me. And then
Of course,
you
the
make her
hut would
that.
of course the hut would have a sledgehammer in it too, like in the background. The set,
Of course,
the
it
set
would.
dresser would have
it would
to
just
put,
like sit there.
yeah. You don't even have to put a shot like a hardcore shot to show it. It just has to be like in the background where you can see it back there.
Watch it. No, here's what you do: is you have Susan knock it over when she brings in the wood. Not my hammer.
Oh, Kathy Bates, man, nobody creeps me out more than that woman. And it's
right.
It's because of her performance, so it's a
And how
credit
good,
to her.
and how good would she be as Ray of the Coos?
Oh yeah, that definitely could be.
I've always had the same person in my mind for Cordelia. It's an actress called Charisma Carpenter. I don't think you're familiar with her. She played Jason Statham's girlfriend in Expendables. The one that like cheats on him and gets the shit kicked out of her.
I don't remember much about it. It's been too long, but
she always sticks in my head. I know her from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
And she plays a character called Cordelia.
Oh, okay.
So there's always been like this association with
Name
me.
connection.
Yeah, and she's a little bit older now, so she could play like the spinstress aunt.
Yeah.
And she's actually a really good actress in the shows, and then obviously in the Expendables she was good. The little bit that she was only in one scene. So.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like that's always stuck in my head is since she had the same character name, Cordelia. So
yeah,
it just kind of always has that association. That's who I picture when I read the book. So
yeah. Jim from Rhode Island said, "What about Susan?" See, my instant thought, it would have worked if they didn't age them up. Would have been Elsie Fisher, which we just talked about for the Castle Rock. I feel like she just like watching 8th grade. It just felt like in some ways like Susan, obviously not like full on, but like she definitely had the look. But she's 15, so with them aging them up, I don't think that would work. I don't know. I really would have to do some investigating on some actors. I'm trying to think of some stuff I watched recently that may have people like in this age range, right? 16 to 21. I feel like right in that pocket is where you're going to find like a lot of these that are going to be playing like your quartet that's going to be there.
Right.
And
the first thing that pops into my head with Susan, who has blonde hair, is of course Emilia Clarke, but
yeah,
that's not going to work.
Yeah,
out.
she's a little bit too old there. That's the thing though, is like it's one of those things that like ages, like the ages. Like I think to myself, like, okay, so like the Maisie Williams would be in the right age group. I mean, she doesn't have the look, obviously. She's not really blonde, but she's in that age group. So it's like
she's such a good actress too.
Yeah, and she's awesome. She does.
It would be interesting to see her play a more vulnerable character than what I'm used to.
Yeah,
I saw her. She's in this new show called Genlock on Rooster Teeth, the show, the series that I talk about. She plays a kind of like a techie cyberpunk, but she's still very confident of herself. It'd be really interesting to see her play a more vulnerable character and see that different aspect of her acting skills, because you know Arya obviously is like a full-on badass in Game of Thrones. So
yeah, I'm almost certain that she's too old or too young, because but I think to myself also, who's the one that they have to ask for soldiers from in Game of Thrones, that she's in charge of the kingdom?
Oh, Lady Mormont.
Yeah, she's probably too young.
Yeah,
but, I mean, she's also a hard ass too, so it doesn't really fit. You know, like
the other one also is like she's probably a little too young, and she's obviously very busy. Is 11 from Stranger Things?
Oh yeah, she's that would have
a little bit too young.
That just gets into like how busy she is.
What about one of the older girls in Stranger Things? Sister. She was
possibly
really good in Stranger Things. I could see her playing a really good kind of Susan damsel in distress, girl at the window kind of thing.
Yeah, it's only one season too.
That's right. Chart your tree.
Oh, I'm glad. I thought that might have got a rise out of you there. Yeah,
I'm getting used to you now, Tad. I know right where you're going to go with all this
20 years.
Only 20 years.
Only took you 20 years to get caught up. Yeah, no, I think that there is some out there. We're gonna definitely do a full-on Dreamcasting episode. This is more just like first.
Dude, are we gonna have time to do a Dreamcasting with the way that they're moving?
Yeah, I mean, we may not. I mean, but
yeah,
it could ultimately turn into a Dreamcasting of future seasons too, right?
Aaron Paul is Eddie.
I don't know, dude.
Aaron Paul is Eddie.
Now, here's the thing: you can change it up, though. Eddie could feasibly not necessarily be older than Roland, even though the actor would be older than Roland's
Wouldn't
actor.
that be an interesting dynamic?
But that he's a little bit older and down the way, age-wise.
Plus, Aaron Paul still looks like he's 20.
Yeah, as long as that still holds true. I haven't. there's been a lot of rumors that he might cameo on Better Call Saul.
Oh, really?
Which would be interesting because then that would take him earlier than he was in Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
which means that you're now erasing like 10 some odd years off like his age. Can you get away with it? Although
True.
Better Call Saul hasn't really cared about that kind of
shit.
shit necessarily. So
She's way too big for the series, but dude, how about Margot Robbie for Roland's mom?
yeah, I
Get
mean,
her like all dressed up in like
I've-
an elegant dress and
see
big hair.
Roland's mom. I feel like has like a tragedy to her. Like I feel like Margot Robbie is a little bit more like, whether it's psychotic or just happy. Like I feel like she doesn't generally have like, I don't know. That's the hardest thing for me is like there's like a sadness. I feel like that has to be with her mom, and that might even be before the affair stuff. I just feel like his mom is just someone that's naturally a little bit more, just more of a tragic character, a little bit, almost like Shakespearean perhaps. But
I gotcha.
So Margot Robbie, not for me. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it just doesn't fit. I guess what I have in my mind.
No,
a
I
little
gotcha.
bit. But yeah, I think that thinking about what we're going to see, though, we're going to like Court, Van like all this stuff is for sure, right? We're going to see.
Well, I mean, we may
the
not
people
see.
of Magus.
We honestly may not see Van A. I mean, that's a small character that we honestly.
You could fold it into Court and just make it the one character. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that you can do for sure. And Van A's really, I mean, it's easy for a novel to speak. Okay, you have a secondary person that teaches them more in the books,
right?
Whereas the movie, it's easier, or a show, it's easier to just go, okay, it's one character, and it also gives you more time with Court. And if you get the right actor.
Or the other thing that you could do is you can make it to where the mothers teach that aspect of it, and you could get more time with Roland's mom, because that's one thing that you do not get in the books whatsoever. You get one scene basically with her, and that's it.
I'll throw one at you from the chat here.
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer for his mom.
Yes.
Instantly, yeah, I'm the same. Like, there's no trepidation for me on that.
Throw Michelle Pfeiffer in as Cordelia. Throw Michelle Pfeiffer in as Ray of the Coos.
She's one of my favorites.
Throw Michelle Pfeiffer in as the wife of the mayor. Plump her up a little bit and make her the wife of the mayor.
Michelle Pfeiffer is a national treasure.
Just like Jesus Christ, like throw her in any female role except for maybe no, she could still pull off Susan. I don't give a shit.
I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
I do too.
I do. I really adore her. Let's see. Travis says Ann Taylor-Joy for Susan.
Anya? You mean Anya?
Or Anya.
Yeah.
So let's see. Split, Glass, Witch, New Mutants. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with her?
I'm not. I'm looking at the picture on your screen right now.
Yeah. I can.
There's a blonde picture of her there. Yeah.
I could. Yeah, I actually would fully be on board with that.
Me too.
I'm reading some of the things there. Like I haven't seen Glass. I haven't seen Split. I've seen Witch, but it's been a while, so I'm not sure exactly. I'm guessing I know who she is, but I'd have to.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be watching that again pretty soon. New Mutants hasn't come out yet.
Travis says to get familiar.
Yeah, I mean, the Witch has been one that's been like, I've been like, I saw it at Sundance.
Yeah.
I never said like I was so tired because I'd done the whole, like that was the last show I did, and like I bought it on Blu-ray, but I still haven't watched it, so I haven't seen it since it came out, and I'm like, I'm vague on some of it. I need to watch it again. So especially after how much I love like Hereditary, I'm like, I gotta watch The Witch again. So good excuse to, but yeah, I think there's this is gonna be good. I think that I think we're in agreement with, and I'm guessing it's almost a no-brainer for what you're going to do for the pilot, right? I feel like it almost has itself written.
It's so simple. If Amazon wants to reach out to me and if someone from Amazon hears this, I will gladly let you know what Dark Tower fans want for that first episode, because I think someone said it in the chat, damn, Peter has his answer right away, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, that's because we've said it before, and I'll say it again. Book 4 is so fucking
it's
easy
ripe for picking.
to send it over to film adaptation. Like, it's so ready for it.
And it doesn't have like a lot of the hang-up issues that the other books have.
Right.
Like, you know, when you get into like demons that are raping characters and like sexual succubuses that attack children, like there's just some things that's like, how are we going to get some of this stuff? Because
even in
some of this shit's kind of...
Even like in book 7 at the Dixie Pig, they're eating fucking babies there.
Yeah.
Like... you could gloss over that, but still, it's kind of like, oh,
yeah,
that's long pork over there.
Yeah, indeed. It's certainly. Whereas book 4, there's some horrendous shit. Obviously, Charlie Tree itself, but like, I don't think that it's as untouchable necessarily. I think off the top of my head, without thinking too hard, like the examination by Rhea is probably going to be the thing that you have to be the most careful about.
Yeah.
But that's obvious if you're going to doubt that.
Yeah, and we talked about that before. I think that's a real easy scene to do.
Yeah.
You just don't drop the camera below shoulder length.
Yeah.
You make it awkward as fuck, though. It's going to be one of those scenes that you're going to watch with me, and you're going to love every second of it because you know how squeamish I get with shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, someone posted a picture of Michael next to the people, the Michael's tots.
Scott's tots?
Scott's tots, yeah. Scott's tots. Dude, I fucking almost threw my phone across the room. It was so bad. I cannot watch that episode.
Yeah, indeed.
I can't do it.
Travis, no, I didn't take that as being a jerk comment. But he says that wasn't meant to be a jerk comment. I just meant she's a future national treasure.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, Travis. I kind of did make it come across that way. Sorry.
Which you did see that I slided in there that Michelle Pfeiffer is also a national treasure.
Of course
right?
she's a national treasure. Yes, I heard that.
And still the best Catwoman,
that goes
right?
without saying. Yes.
As I'll say, the answer has to be yes. She did so great in that
She
role.
was really good as Catwoman. I won't lie about that. I was literally
But see,
I was going 60s Catwoman, animated Catwoman, the Catwoman from the Arkham games.
But see, here's the thing with
Anne
her.
Hathaway.
Is,
No, yeah, she's
is
bad.
she has that sadness I was talking about.
Right.
Look at her and Selena Kyle in '92, was it? I think when the Batman Returns came out. Like she has that before she gets killed. She has that when she's Catwoman. Like she has that just that weird sadness to her.
Oh,
That's
damn.
like,
Oh, damn.
what?
Michelle Pfeiffer as Gabrielle and Kurt Russell as Stephen Deshane. Oh, damn. I'm like shaking. That's an awesome pairing for parents for Roland.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
yeah.
Haven't
indeed.
they done something before together?
That
That sounds familiar. Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell.
No.
No?
I thought you were going to throw out and say like Michael Keaton is Steven because of that. Just
Michael Keaton is Stephen. No.
Oh. Now, what about Michael Keaton as the mayor
Yes.
in Magus?
No. Yeah.
It'd be different. It'd be different than what the book portrayed, but dude, give Michael Keaton has definitely had a renaissance over the last 5 or so years, and I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna do a dream casting I think very soon.
We're gonna have to.
even if it's just like alongside a normal episode as like the big palaver point of the episode. But I feel like it has to happen. But
Shit, maybe we should just do one and just post it on social media. Get it out there, get it on the show notes or something so we can get it out before any more freaking castings happen.
yeah,
Are you going to tell me about the next ones? Because if they're going to be coming fast, we're not going to record for 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, and I guess that is a good thing to talk about when it comes to programming. This is basically we're just moving up next week's episode to now, so that we'll leave a longer gap than we usually have between episodes. Generally, we something might come up, like one of us gets sick or something,
Right?
And we have to push an episode back, so you have a longer gap, and then 2 quick ones. This is 2 quick ones, and then the gap. It's backwards from what we normally do. So
Right.
just a programming note. Don't expect us until a couple weeks from now. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but
2
Travis
weeks.
is saying they were in Tequila Sunrise. That wasn't one I'm super familiar with.
Thank you.
But
April the weekend of April 13th is the Saturday that we would be recording next, because this week is the 22nd.
so what you're saying is the next time we record, Game of Thrones will be premiering a few nights later.
Correct.
That's exciting.
I still gotta figure out how I'm gonna watch that show.
But no, I think that this is awesome, dude. I was
Yeah.
so excited yesterday. It pretty much made my day at work. There was part of me that instantly started to plot the best way to hopefully record this without you having knowledge of it. Maybe again, I thought suspicion might happen because we did an emergency episode with the original casting,
Yes.
with a few big news breaks where it's like. Then that's why I didn't portray it as an
Yep.
emergency when we were texting, as I'm just like,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, why, got shit going next weekend or whatever. And I don't know if you suspected then, but yeah, next weekend's looking pretty rough.
Honestly, the more I thought about it, it's like because obviously I have to text my wife and let her know, because
yeah,
usually this is an off weekend, so we do stuff and everything. We had plans this weekend. We were getting new phones. Tad's been hearing me talk about my new phone before we started and everything. So that was something that was happening. My new phone was supposed to be delivered today, and it got delivered yesterday. So I was dealing with that. And of course the hours that you got to spend setting up a new phone. And then you text me and you're like, "Hey, we got to record this weekend instead of next weekend." And I'm like,
And
Does he have something going on? What's going? That's where it got, because I started texting my wife and saying, "Hey, we got to record this weekend instead of next weekend." And she's like, "Oh, is that okay?" Or like usually, like she actually brought up, like usually you guys push it back if you're sick. Like,
yeah.
Like, is he like is something?
I'm going to be sick next week.
is something going on? Like, and I was like, no, I don't think so. I think he's just really busy next week. He said he looked at his calendar and that it's really busy. He doesn't think that he's going to be able to fit in recording. And I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, did he say that?
I was like, hold on a second. And I'm like, huh. So then I got thinking about it. And then today I did laundry. And so I was sitting down at the laundromat and I was like, something's going on here. Hold on a second.
Something's afoot.
I'm like, something's going on here. And then the more I thought about it throughout the day, and then I came to the decision, like right as I was walking out the door, and I'm like, I bet you if I look something up right now, I'm going to find something about the show. Like it got greenlit or so. I honestly didn't expect castings.
Yeah.
I expected it to be greenlit. I expected maybe for them to announce like the show is going. Here's the length.
Yeah.
Here's when it's going to premiere. We're going to start recording. We're going to start casting.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I come into a fucking Roland and Flag casting. Hell yeah, dude.
And also, isn't it interesting it's being called the two leads? Because Flag isn't that big of a
Not
role
a big
in
role.
book 4. I mean, he kind of is, especially if you take my belief that he's Farson, which I still hold to.
Despite the comics.
Despite the comics, despite some things that King writes in the negative, but I also think there's enough things in the positive that, you know, again, it's King. King, you know, it's like the hat thing, right? Like,
Right.
does Roland have a hat or doesn't he? Same thing. Is Flag Farson or isn't he? I think that he is. And I
Yeah.
feel like for the show, I almost guarantee he will be. I don't
Right.
think that if we see Farson, which I almost think you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I don't know if like the whole Chekhov's gun thing would work if you have
Right.
this like menacing, you know, villain in like in the distance that you never see. I just don't see that happening. Especially, I mean, Jericho Hill, he would have to be at. So if we get to that in season 1 or even season 2, like you're gonna have to see him eventually.
You're talking about Flag being at Jericho Hill, not Farson.
Well, isn't Farson there?
I don't think they ever mentioned Farson for Jericho Hill.
Oh.
They specifically mentioned Flag because Flag
Yeah.
kills Cuthbert.
Yeah.
Puts an arrow right in his eye.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, either way, I just don't think that. So I think that like it's like Van A and Court merge those two.
Right.
I feel like.
It's absolutely
even
a
though
natural-
I already believe they're the same person, merge them together to where, because then also how much like does that give you that Game of Thrones ish vibe, which is hard to say, of like you see him as like the counselor, right? I mean, if in the first episode, if we see the cheating aspect, we're already going to be somewhat suspicious of him, and maybe the actor makes us suspicious of him anyway.
Well, yeah, he's a creepy looking motherfucker.
But if not, like the fact that he's like whatever, and then you reveal the audience, show him on the other side commanding forces in a battle, and you realize like, wait a minute, the dude that's there is the fucking counselor to the Roland's dad.
Yeah, because not everyone's going to be us going in going, I know who you are.
Yeah, so it gives you that element of like, holy shit, like this is fucked.
Yeah.
Like you know they're losing this war, and one in their inner
Yeah.
fucking circle of this all is basically the leader of the enemy.
Here's what I
forces.
would do. Here's what I would do. It's kind of like what they did from the comics, is where when Roland takes his manhood trial, and they go to arrest Flag, and he poofs and nopes out of there. He goes to talk to Farson, right?
Bye.
Bye. Good old Snake callback right there. He goes and talks to Farson, right? What if him and Farson go into a private meeting and you find out that Farson is just a puppet actor doing what Flag orders him
So
to
do the Trevor thing,
Dude,
from,
how
from
awesome.
Iron Man 3.
Dude, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, no, you could. And would that not just be up the alley of Flag to do?
Right?
To have
Right?
And I mean, and also then maybe you get into the whole element of like shape shifting. Like you have this dude that, you know, like you basically you find this dude, he's going to be your decoy, and like
well, you go fuck with Gilead for 9 months or whatever,
Yeah.
which getting Steven's wife to cheat on him and get in the inner circle
Yeah.
and be the magician there and everything like that. Have this dude over here leading your forces
Yeah.
for you, and then what you do is you have him come back and you just have Flag just straight up just murder this motherfucker and then take back over his role.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
how great would that be?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's definitely the kind of stuff.
Or leave it. Leave him alive, because then he goes to Magus and he does the good man. And
Yeah.
you know at that point, you know, you're the good man. You fucker. You're lying.
Yeah, exactly. Which is my reactions anyway as I read it. I'm like, you motherfucker.
you.
That is you. Don't lie to me.
You.
But yeah, no, dude, I can't wait to see this unfold.
Yeah.
I know that in the past, Amazon, unlike Netflix, or some of the others. Amazon has done a whole thing where they will make an episode of something and actually release it for people to watch.
Really?
To then get how much people go watch it. Also, they may do surveys and stuff to like get people's input. They've done that in the past. I don't know that they're doing it a lot now. The whole Amazon Studios thing, that they have this whole like infrastructure to try to help like find like new directors and filmmakers.
Right.
And stuff. It all fell apart when the person in charge of it was like Me Too guilty. And the whole thing just kind of got kiboshed. And of course, studios still exist, but it's more of a fact of like, rather than trying to find unknowns and new people, it's like trying to build a new Netflix, basically.
Sure.
But I wonder if part of it will still be with doing this pilot is once the pilot's done, polished, it'll get thrown up and we'll be able to watch it independent of having a series and a green light.
All right, everyone. We watch.
Which would be cool. Which would be cool for us because we'd be able to at least see one episode and talk about it without having to worry about having the whole fucking show dropped on us at once.
Shit.
But that
would be like a 5-hour episode for us. Part of it would be us just watching the episode.
Yeah, just watching it. But no, this is going to be good, man. I'm really excited. We are going forward. #show. Credit to them.
Yeah.
At least insofar as the realm of being a pilot. We have casting. We have most likely. This doesn't say anything about cameras rolling, so I'm only still assuming that #show is right, that by mid-April in Croatia, that they'll be filming. Until I see otherwise, I'll just believe that is all true, because this is backing up pretty much everything that #show said.
And we talked about that. Croatia was where they filmed King's Landing, right?
Yeah, a lot of King's Landing stuff was filmed there.
Gilead, if you're doing a pilot.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
There. And we were talking about it was only a couple weeks. I mean, a couple weeks seems like a lot for one episode.
Travis.
Now, if it's like pre-production and like people come in a week and a half to build sets and build costumes, then 3 weeks makes sense. But wasn't it about 3 weeks that thing had originally said? Like,
right.
And like that seemed like a lot for 10 episodes. Like,
but now it makes more sense for a pilot.
It makes more sense if it's just a pilot. It may seem like a little bit more time than you need, but who knows?
What Travis says, coordinated watch party, let's do it. Then you guys live pod right after. Come on. Jim from Rhode Island says I'm in.
Oh,
I love that we always say Jim from Rhode Island. Like it's just part of the name now.
That would be. I've done it. Caden and I have done it though.
Oh, have you?
It was actually never really got released because I didn't really have a secondary podcast at the time. I still have it somewhere. But we watched one of the crossovers for CW shows.
Oh, nice.
And then just like watched the whole thing, which is like 4 hours, and like recorded for like 3 hours. It was
damn.
So like, yeah. I don't know that would work for this, but we'll figure out our strategy. But
shit, I'm down for doing it.
Yeah, we'll figure out.
I'll watch it the first time with you. If you want to plan something like that, if the pilot drops.
Oh, the pilot, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. It's just the pilot. If we just watch the pilot and then instantly go into a podcast, dude, I'll sit right here and watch it right there.
That's what we tried to do with that's basically what we did with the movie, right?
Yeah.
We walked out of the theater.
Walked out of the theater. We literally did not say a goddamn word about the movie. We started talking about football because that was about to start because it was August. We talked about a stupid lady driver. We talked about anything else. We got here, we hit record, then we started talking about the film for the first time.
Yeah.
So and I'm pointing in the direction, and of course no one can see me point except Tad, so I look kind of like an idiot. But literally the theater is less than a mile away from Tad's house where we watched it.
Yeah. No, I'm totally down for that. I will definitely keep my eyes open to see about any news about them doing it. It just seems like Amazon's way. It's not like the old days where like NBC does the pilot for Seinfeld, watches it, and then like says yes or no. Like Amazon's generally thrown it out. So I feel like we're gonna get a chance. Hopefully it's to everyone and not just like a select group. If it is a select group, I'll do everything I can to be part of that group. But it's gonna be fun. And yeah, it's going to. I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of fun to see what happens over the next month and a half, right?
Travis must have thought you were saying no because he says #Peter is the man. #come on, Tad.
Well, I wasn't.
I don't know.
Well, I was being somewhat trepidatious at first. I thought you were committing to watching the whole show once and then podcasting. I'm like,
no.
If we don't even know how many episodes it's going to be. No. If it's like, what if it's like 10 episodes?
That's what I'm clarifying, but no, yeah, for sure. If they drop a pilot, we're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, definitely. And then Jack says, loved our movie commentary. Yeah, that was a lot of fun for sure. But yeah, that's I'll definitely do everything we can to make sure that that we keep everybody updated. But I feel like it's all going to happen quick, man, because if mid-April is when they're filming.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like
next time we record, we're mid-April.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, we'll be back for that. I don't think that any of the other castings or anything else that's going to break would necessarily be like shake the earth and like let's record again as like an emergency episode.
Right.
I don't know that like, you know, as much as I love Cuthbert, seeing his casting is going to be enough to like justify like, oh my God, let's do a you know, like whatever. I think we could take a couple week break until.
Are you gonna fucking text me when they cast Cuthbert? Don't you fucking maniacally laugh at me. Are you going to text me or not? Do I need to start pulling my head out of the sand?
Oh, that is a really good question. That is...
You give me an answer, Tad.
That is a good question.
You give me an answer.
Chewbacca is a Wookiee.
You son of a bitch. Don't you use the Chewbacca defense on me? I know how that works.
Oh, man. Well, cool, guys. Yeah, this is, like I said, thank you guys for joining us in the chat. It's been fun talking through it. Hopefully those clips looked good on your guys' end. I thought about it as we were right in the middle of playing it, that I generally turn like the visual side of our streaming down to a lower setting, because we usually don't have like videos playing where like, because like I'm using a program that people would use to like do their streaming stuff for like games, right? Play a game while they're talking or whatever. So you could have like all these things, but I usually turn the video stuff as low down as I can so that hopefully it causes less buffering issues and stuff like that. So hopefully it looked all right for everyone and everyone could hear everything and whatever, but it was fun to watch and see these guys, and can't wait to see this boy here
roll into Shane,
getting his trial of manhood, and then getting sent off to a place to. Now here's the question: do you think that they're going to add Flag more into like the mages stuff?
I honestly
I don't think you can get rid of like the coffin hunters necessarily.
No,
but if he's definitely there and more involved, I wonder.
Yeah, for sure. That's
because
honestly
they're calling him a lead.
That's honestly what my first thought was.
Yeah.
Like, how can we make Flag more prominent?
Yeah. All right. We will go ahead and wrap the episode now. A little bit longer than normal, but we did get through some of the non big news stuff first, because we never would have got to it if we didn't. Now, here's one thing I'm going to throw at you. We don't have a lot of time to discuss it, but a thought process I had as I exited door number 1 in reading Drawing of the Three. If Henry didn't die, do you think there's any chance Eddie would go with Roland?
No. Not a chance.
That's an interesting. I don't know why that's never struck me before, but like when he's sitting there with the head and stuff, there was just part of me was like, dude, what if freaking Henry didn't die? Like, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I don't think that Eddie ever.
Not a well, they cover that later in book the door 2. Eddie's good now. He has someone to take care of.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, even before that, because he says that he explains it to Roland. He's like, the reason I didn't kill myself is because you needed me.
Yeah.
You know, and some people need to be needed, and like he talks about the Streisand song and stuff. But it was just a thought that I had where I was just like, I've never had that what if before. It's like, what if Henry didn't die? And you know, like, I mean, of course it's written, so it's going to happen the way it needs to happen. But like, an interesting thought process for the character, because Henry is just too important to him. That would have been interesting. Or would he have brought Henry with him? I guess that would be the alternate, right?
That would be so. Roland would have just shot him.
Yeah, at some point he would have.
A bear ate him, or Lobstrosy ate him.
And Travis says, "I love the can of worms that opens and leaves on the table." Yeah, I mean,
you son of a bitch.
It's just a thought I had.
He would do this all the time to me too. He would be like, he got on an earlier shift, and he'd be like, "Yeah, all right, Peter, I'm going to go out. Hey, by the way, do you think Eddie would have come with Roland if Henry hadn't have died? All right, have a nice night." And I'm like, "You motherfucker, come back here!"
Okay, here's the thing. I didn't want to do it at the top of the show or during the odds and ends, because I didn't want it to turn into a 30-minute discussion.
No, see,
when we had
here's the
casting
thing.
news to talk
here's
about.
Here's the thing, Tad, you crafty son of a bitch. I got to tell you what he did to me. So we're getting ready to start the show, right? And he's like, "Hey, so we got a couple things that we got to go over, but we haven't done emails for a while, so I really want to get to them. So let's not get too sidetracked on these. Let's keep the tangents down just a little bit." And we all know how Peter and Tad love tangents here on Dark Tower Palaver. But he's like, let's keep it down just a little bit and everything like that. And I'm like, what is he talking about? We just did the emails just like a couple episodes ago. Like, we can't be that backed up, because he says we were getting a little bit low.
No, I don't think.
I'm like,
that was to be clear though, that was a while ago. It has been a minute since we've done like.
I was like, all right, like let's just change the fundamental things of the show. But then the little voice in the back of my head that is on Tad watch constantly goes, "Lies, deception."
Is that should have done that in the Forrest Whitaker voice? Lies, deception.
My voice head is not that talented, all right?
I did tweet out this morning that I was going to tell you to. So most of the people that are on Twitter are fully aware of that treachery that I was going to pull on you, because I was just like, let's give people a look behind the scenes of how things work here. Because I told everyone, I'm like, hey, I'm going to cover some of the news that's happened first, and then get to the big story. So be patient if you're in the chat or whatever. And I just said, like, and also I'm going to tell Peter, just figure give people a look behind.
Hashtag Tad is terrible.
It took to the end of the episode.
No, I said it earlier. Fuck you.
Did you?
I did.
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. I called you terrible earlier.
I don't remember.
And then I called you a monster and you're horrible and all those other things, too. This is not the first time I've used hashtag Tad is terrible in this episode. Check the tape.
I don't know.
Check the tape.
But hey, was it worth it, though?
Goddamn right.
Good reveal.
Yeah, good reveal.
Good reveal.
I gotta give you props.
All right, guys. So we will see you next time. And for the podcast people, you guys will hear some audio that you won't really have video to. I'll have the link to the YouTube video in the show notes. As for the one for Sam Strike and Mindhunter, that I was literally broadcasting from Netflix, open in a tab. So you guys will have to jump on Netflix yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 4, it's very quick into the episode. I want to say that where I was playing from is like, because Netflix doesn't show you, or at least on my screen, it wasn't showing me what we were into the episode, but the left of the episode was like 45, 48 something minutes. So it's really early in the episode. So if you want to go and watch the scene we did there, plus if you want to watch the further thing, because there's a lot more for Sam to deal with in that scene. I just didn't want to go too heavy on it because it's a pretty cool scene. But if you want to see that, you'll have to do that on your own. But I'll have the show notes. I'll have the video from Black Klansman. And yeah, so check the show notes. We'll have all the articles I referenced. And yeah, enjoy that. Until then, as we always say, long days. Or
we haven't done the closing stuff yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're ahead of yourself.
Whatever. I can mess up. I can mess up the beginning every once in a while.
I mean, you haven't even gotten to like them subscribing, rating, and reviewing us already.
Oh yeah. Well, I covered the show notes. And then if you want to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, we'd definitely appreciate that. Peter will tell you how to contact us.
You can email us. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. Watch Facebook and Twitter. We're going to have some stuff on there coming soon, right? With,
a lot. There's a lot on Twitter right now. Even like I'm almost even guessing that probably because there's a lot of conversations I've got going. Sure. And it's a lot of good conversations too. So if you're in the Twitter sphere, check us out there because there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, and so Facebook.com/darktowerpalaver, and then @darktowerpod, @darktowerpod, and then check our shows out. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. Probably not going to be able to see this round.
I'm gonna post this one, but I'm not hopeful that it won't get pulled. Just because I have two different shows that honestly, when you have the algorithms that go and look and pull.
Honestly, especially the Netflix side of it, not having just a YouTube clip, but having a Netflix, makes me worried.
Yeah,
but basically,
we're gonna try.
Yeah, youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. You'll see most all of our roundtables except this one. Hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed on this. Book clubs get aired on YouTube, but they get taken down. Same thing, copyright. So check out our shows there.
Indeed. And as we always say, long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
A little bit of silence there. And then for the people in the live stream chat, thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely a fun one. I know we didn't... there was a few pockets of chat there that we didn't get, but there was a lot going on. So hopefully we got to enough of it, and hopefully you guys felt part of the show because you certainly were. You guys always make it fun.
Yeah, for sure.
What's seen?
Hashtag Tad is terrible and hashtag I love it.
And it looks like Chris from Australia joined us.
Like
the end of the movie. Roland, well, Jake, all your family's dead, so you may as well come with me. That's about the long and short of it, right? I mean, now, Chris, I could potentially look at editing the videos out. I don't know how that works. Like if they pull it down for copyright, if I then go and edit them without the video, maybe I could post it again. I don't know. I'm mostly new to anything too deep into YouTube, but usually it's just a matter of click, post, that's it. But yeah, I'll definitely try to do that. If they do pull it down, I'll try to edit the videos out and repost it because I think that this has been a fun episode to look at, to listen to, but also like to look at some of the stuff we're looking at and stuff outside of even the clips. So
sure.
A lot of fun, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. And like I said, to the show when we're doing the full podcast, it'll be a couple weeks until you see us again. Just basically think about the normal schedule, except that next week's episode was a week early.
Yep.
And we'll be on our normal track. And we'll see you guys mid-April, it sounds like, if Peter looked at the calendar right.
April 13th is what it says.
That seems crazy. It still feels like early March to me.
It's the 22nd.
I know, but it feels like it feels like it's like the 12th or like the 8th.
No.
For some weird reason in my head it does. So yeah, we'll see you guys then, and we can't wait to see you guys. We will try to keep on the same schedule. We'll let you guys know if there's any changes, obviously, because this is Friday, which we normally have Saturday.
Yep.
But I think on the 12th, was it you said?
13th.
Will be 3 p.m. our time, which is 5 p.m.
5 Eastern.
5 Eastern. So if you want to join us for that live stream, that's when we'll see you. All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.